Marco.
I took a full load.
And the mic was muted. Yep, good stuff. We're back. After too much delay. Honestly, it was quite optimistic, wishful thinking for me to schedule the stream at the original time I did, because I knew based on what time I went to bed last night, I was not going to be able to wake up with adequate enough time to prepare for the stream and like set everything up and you know, put the fireplace on and get dust the shelves and all the things that need to be done in the grand lounge of the Emperor's Palace before I stream. But I thought we could do it, and then I was like, oh yeah, I have to react to this episode, but I forgot that I need to like skim through it and make sure there's not anything that is bad that I have to censor out. And of course there was, but I don't know, that just escaped my mind. It's been so long since I've done a stream about Scott and Peter. I forgot like the protocol and how my life has changed since the good old days. And so I had to I had already made the thumbnail and scheduled it. I was like, I'm either gonna disappoint the goons by being late to the stream they are anticipating, or I just pull the rug out and do a completely different stream altogether. And so I believe I chose the lesser of two evils, but we're here. And you know what? If you're watching this on the replay, which statistically the vast majority of people are, you didn't even miss anything. You woke up and you saw a new, you're waking up on Monday or I guess Tuesday, Monday and Monday morning, and you're seeing a brand new Marco stream that you can sink your teeth into while you drain the company clock, you know, while you drain the company's funds and run the clock during your shift, but you're actually listening to multiple hours of me bickering with two old men on the internet. Thank you guys for being here. Dimitri N has been binging all of Marco's videos for the past week. All of a sudden, I see he's going live, so I got to check it out. Reading the keyword soup at the bottom. I see hartej and laugh out loud. Yeah, enjoy that. Thank you for being here, Dimitri. Welcome, 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 welcome. All the mods, all the members, like Alexis, Artemis Green, Howard, Starla Marie, Danielle. The best women. I have such good relations with women. Devin Kelly, Hopi Nay. Women love me. They love Trump. Hopi Nay, she loves Trump. Yep. That's it for right now. A new member, Danny, also a woman. He does so great with the African Americans, with the women. They love him. Let's see. I'm not going to do that poll, Jess. I saw you asking for that, but no, I mean, everyone can make their own decisions. What's up? People can watch at their JOB. Yep. I am living in the future because the time zone I'm in the future. Wagwan, Alex. Wagwan, thumbs up the ting, everybody.
Thumbs up the team.
My YouTube buttons are not working. I tried to remedy that as well, but too many moving parts. Thumbs up the ting, definitely. We're back. I have good news and I have bad news. Contrary to popular belief, I do sometimes prepare for the streams, and today is one of those days. And I did prepare for this stream, so I'm going to share with you my note. Now, I also have this BFR episode queued up. Here it is.
Welcome to Building Fortunes Radio.
I've got this queued up and ready to go as well, and I did all the trimming and whatever we need to do. Plus, I don't know how I've neglected to or forgot to react to this for so long. Did you guys know that there is a Losing Fortunes Radio, Always Marco diss track? Have I played this on the stream before? I really don't think I have. It's honestly tough to keep up with the beef. But the channel that has the AI Losing Fortunes Radio episodes, where it's like sounds just like Scott and Peter, but it's AI, they have a diss track, LFR episode 4. Here's what it's called. LFR episode 4, Comeway diss track by Young Scooter, beat by Lil Pooter. Could be the move. Could absolutely be the move. let's talk about, before we get into Scott and Peter, because this is going to be a good episode. It does sort of, no, I shouldn't say it takes away the magic that I'm not reacting to it blind, because it's still fucking hilarious, but we'll get back to it eventually. Don't worry. And now, I mean, if you guys don't mind me editing the Julie Anderson episode to remove any sensitive things that they talk about, I never even reacted to that one on my stream. There's also episodes with our resident goon, Dave Vaughn. There's another episode where a goon named David went on their show to like debate with them. But the Julie Anderson episode, I especially want to react to. And we got to get Glenn. I want Glenn to get back on there. Alex Wagwan, Clarelicious, what's up? Okay, good news. We're doing this Building Fortunes radio stream. That's the first good news. The second good news is I have more. Kylie follows it. More Building Fortunes radio streams to come. I also have another stream, which is going to be very timely because the election is coming up. So true. And I'm going to be reacting to some clips from FTC chair Lena Khan. She has done the rounds recently doing interviews, and there's some footage and thoughts about her, about the FTC, about the future FTC, whether it's under Kamala or under... So true. And some interesting thoughts about that, because obviously whoever becomes... Thank you. Obviously, whoever becomes the next president is the one who's going to decide the direction of the FTC and who's in charge, and that's also going to play into how MLMs are treated and reprimanded or not reprimanded. And I have to say one thing under Biden that's been actually good is the FTC chair, Lena Khan. I think she's been good going after like monopolistic practices and whatnot. So I don't want to give away too much of what I plan to talk about during that stream, but we have that coming up as well. Also, the multi-level misery episode that I released with Stefan and Jenna a few weeks ago. This is the couple who were in Amway for 13 years. This video is at nearly 40,000 views, which is great. And then I also released a week after that, exactly a week after that, I released a stream clip, which was the Tupperware video, which was like around 12 minutes long. That one, not doing great view-wise, but still, I mean, it's a stream clip. When those come out, I'm just happy to put something out. But then the stream clip that I put out the week after that, which was 3 days ago, about Body going out of business and reacting to their CEO's sad little Zoom call, or no, Vimeo. It wasn't even a Zoom call because it was just him talking, but it was like his broadcast to the Body distributors. That video is doing really well also. And I'm keeping up the streak of uploading once a week, at least for the next week, because I have another multi-level misery episode with another former Amway distributor that I'm very much looking forward to release. I know it was like a year since I did one of the multi-level misery episodes, and I knew people liked them, but there was a couple reasons for me taking a break from doing it for a bit. One is I didn't want my whole YouTube feed to just be multi-level misery interviews, and so part of me was thinking like, fuck, if I keep this up, I could drop one of these every week and people would watch them every week, but then my whole channel is just going to be like that, which might not be a bad thing. I mean, Caleb Hammer is a channel on YouTube who's gotten like millions of subscribers just in the last year. He's really blown up, and every episode of his, he drops every few days. Every episode of his show it's called Financial Audit, and it's basically like a modernized version of Dave Ramsey, where people call in, people call in and he gives them financial advice based on their situation. Caleb Hammer, they're sitting with him in person, and he just goes through their bank statements and basically tears them apart about how much money they're spending on Chick-fil-A and whatever, and gives them a plan on how to fix their finances. But it's virtually the same concept every time. And I noticed this about successful media properties, is it's always like a repeatable format. You know, all the biggest like streamers and shows, think about the shows that have been on the longest, like Family Feud or Jeopardy. It's the same thing every time. They've just tweaked the people that are involved with it or the questions on it, but the format is the same. So I've recognized that there's a upside to having a format that works and that people like, and that frankly is untapped. Nobody else is doing the multi-level misery series on YouTube, as far as I know. So, but that was one reason, and perhaps I was being a bit too nitpicky about that. And the solution is to just continue dropping more other kinds of videos as well. Or maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe people go to my channel feed and they actually don't give a fuck about that, and they don't care. They don't care about that. Another reason why I took a break from doing it was because out of all of the multi-level misery episodes I've done, if you go to the multi-level misery playlist on my channel, I think you'll only see you'll only see like, I don't even know how many of these are public. You won't see that many, basically, is the point I'm making. And that's because more than half of the multi-level misery interviews that I've done, thumbs up the ting, by the way, over 100 people watching. Most of the multi-level misery interviews I've done are no longer there. They've either been unlisted, or privated, or outright deleted from a mix of two potential things. One, either the people on it didn't want it out there anymore. They changed their mind about coming out with their story or something like that. You might remember there was one episode I did with a gentleman who had been involved in MLMs for a long time, and he had been convicted in Canada of running a Ponzi scheme at one point. That was a great episode, and he, I guess, had a change of heart later. What am I gonna do? Tell him no, fuck you. It's content for me so I can get views and make money? Of course not. He's a human being. If he doesn't want it out there, I'm not gonna, put it out there, especially after he took the time to tell his story to me. I don't, it is unfortunate because I spent time filming it and editing it and preparing questions and all that, but it is what it is. So it was either that, people asking me to remove them, or me having to remove them, private them because of legal issues. There were several episodes that I had to remove for that reason as well. So it seemed to be like despite the presumed consistency in which I could release these episodes, it seemed to me kind of pointless if I'm dropping one episode a week only for, two of them to eventually have to be removed anyways. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm glad I came back and did it. And I have more. I have another one recorded, which will come out next week, and I'm trying to be less delicate about it. I'm trying to just give the people what they want and not worry so much about how fancy it looks on my feed. I can, we can do that over on Instagram. Follow my Instagram, by the way, at alwaysmarco. For some reason, between TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, those are the three platforms where I'm really active. YouTube is my biggest. TikTok, surprisingly, is my second biggest, considering I spend the least time on it, and third is Instagram, which is my lowest, despite me probably, arguably spending the most time on Instagram. I post the most on Instagram. I am on Instagram the most. So that's strange to me. I only have 10.7K followers on there, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. YouTube, though, almost at 100K. TikTok also is interesting that I have almost 30,000 followers, because I've never really made content for TikTok. I've only ever posted YouTube clips. The same content you would see me post on Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts is the exact same thing I'm posting on TikTok. But for some reason, your boy just be blowing up on TikTok. FTC chair, Marco Mucha Bear, so true. Bars. What up, Burger Baron? Let's see. What was the name of that MLM reality show? Oh, Pay to Win. Play to Win. Yeah, Play to Win, aka Pay to Win. FTC chair, Dick DeVos, right? Linda says, I love multi-level misery. I would love to see a Marco show every day. The more Marco, the better, especially if it's BFR. Well, look, your dreams are coming true. So yes, good news. BFR stream, more BFR streams, another stream about the FTC, more uploads, another multi-level misery. Another good thing that people sleep on is alwaysmarcomerch.com, the discount link that you can use just by typing the code GOONS at the checkout. I mean, say enough about that. That's a stream exclusive. Another thing is, I have to share this with you. I don't know when I'm going to post about this on Instagram, but I like to reward the people who actually watch the live streams, whether it's live or on the replay, but especially live, so that you guys get to know some tidbits of info first, because there's a special thing when you actually tune in live to watch me. So I like to give you little nuggets that even the people on the replay would be like, oh, well, the people who saw this live heard this first. Does merch count as goon tax? Definitely not. Streamlabs link in the chat is the only way. The pinned comment is the only way to pay your goon tax. I don't know when I'm going to post about this on Instagram or make it public. Perhaps it depends on when I actually hit 100,000 subscribers, which is going to be very soon, especially if I keep uploading. But I was recently, the reason I didn't stream at all last week, almost for 2 weeks, is because I was away. If you watched the last stream, you might have seen that I had a dono goal for, it was called something like Flight for Secret Mission, something like that, because I was flying somewhere. Unfortunately, basically nobody donated to that dono goal, so we paid out of pocket for it, which is all good, but I was off in another country filming my 100K subscriber special. Yes, this is a video that I have been planning since April. I've been started writing the script for it in April. And I wanted this to be like a completely different kind of video than you've ever seen from me on my channel. Normally, the videos you see from me on my channel are one of two things. Most commonly, it's me in the Imperial living room giving you the facts or sharing the screen with you and reading you something. The other kind of content is me in person running up on scammers, infiltrating a pyramid scheme type beat, which those are my favorite, of course, and your favorite as well. The other kind of video that you've never really seen from me is like a very well, like, normally the infiltrating a pyramid scheme, it's run and gun. You never know what you're going to get. But I wanted to do a beautiful, like, more cinematic video where I like plan out the shots and, do some nice color correction and make it really look really nice. And there's a narrative point to why I'm doing that in the video as well. You'll see. But yeah, that video is completed. I already filmed it and edited the whole thing as well. So very excited for that. Whenever I hit 100,000 subscribers, I guess you guys will see that, because I have to hit 100K before I put it out, because the very opening of the video is me mentioning that I've hit 100K. But it's a really good video, I think. And yeah, it's something you've never seen from me before. And especially the first like minute of it, I really love. Yes. So that's on the horizon. Another thing is, I want to share with you guys my idea for my Halloween costume. Now, if this is too scary, let me know. But this is important for me to bring up. I'm gonna share my Halloween costume with you guys on the screen, and hopefully you guys can see this. You hear that sound? That's the airdrop. That's the airdrop notification sound on my MacBook. So let's zoom out of this. Here we go. Let's go screen capture. So looks good, right? Captain America. What could you possibly do with Captain America that would be a funny twist, perfect for a Halloween costume, that also ties in absolutely seamlessly with the content of your channel? Well, here it is. Captain Primerica. Captain Primerica is the Halloween costume idea that I've been thinking of for some time now. And NPAZ, thank you to NPAZ for this amazing edit of Captain Primerica holding the shield with the Primerica 3 rings instead of his typical USA shield. Now, in the country that I'm in, Halloween is celebrated from what I understand, but it's very, I don't know, it hasn't felt very Halloween-ish outside. I guess maybe it's a weather thing. The climate is not the same as back home, so it doesn't feel as much like Halloween as it would back in Canada. That being said, I mean, I don't have plans for Halloween. I wasn't planning to, like, go out. I wasn't planning to, like, dress up or anything like that. Last year, I think, maybe it was last year or the year before, I did a Halloween stream where I was dressed as Batman, and I went through a a rogues gallery of all the favorite villains that we've reacted to on the channel, and we assigned them different Batman villain matches. So I'm pretty sure Dominic Izzo was like the Penguin. This must have been 2 years ago. Jesse Lee Ward was the Joker. No, Robert Hollis was the Joker. There was a whole rogues gallery, and we did sort of a Eric Worre was Lex Luthor, of course. We did a whole rogues gallery speed run on that Halloween. I thought that was quite funny. But Captain Primerica, ever since this idea ever since I had this idea of being Captain Primerica for Halloween, I've had so many ideas of like different videos that I could film as Captain Primerica. And one of them is like, you know, in Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man and his classmates in high school, they're like watching these like public service announcement type videos of Captain America being like, hey kids, Captain America here, say no to drugs. I could do a fucking hilarious video where I'm like, hey kids, Captain Primerica here. How about instead of the traditional Halloween trick-or-treating, you were able to recruit people to go trick-or-treating for you, and you got a cut of their candy as well. And I could do a whole thing. I could literally do a whole thing. I could do several things. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. Captain Primerica, you know? Fucking hilarious. But also my lawyer is gonna be so fucking pissed. You know? I love Primerica. Primerica is a great company. That's why I want to dress up as Captain Primerica, because it's a funny pun, and for no other reason than that. I can't even read your comments out loud, what you guys are saying. Yeah, so Captain Primerica, I think, could be a really funny idea, you know? Saving people from he's doing good work. He's saving people from financial ruin and, you know, providing people with stability and security and amazing part-time income. What could you hate about that? So if we do good on the dono goals, if we do good on the goon tax, I will commit to you to finding a costume shop or costume maker here in the country that I'm in, to create the Captain Primerica costume, or I'll just buy a Captain America costume and I'll like, I don't know how I'll replace the star with like the 3 rings, but I'll figure out a way. So another reason that, I mean, a double incentive for why you should consider paying your goon tax is now we're gonna get to the bad news.
It's an evil world we live in.
The bad news is, after returning from the country that I was in, I'll just tell you where I was. I was in Indonesia. Some of you know what is in Indonesia. What's in Indonesia? I wonder what's in Indonesia. Some of the more worldly of you may know that within Indonesia is Bali. Bali is in Indonesia. The boy was in Bali. Why was I in Bali? He was there to vacation. He was there chilling. He was using his rich, famous celebrity status to jet set and live the high life. Yes, of course. Actually, I was sick during the trip. I was sick and barely was able to even film the video that I filmed there, but we got it done. Also fell off my motorbike and got scraped up pretty bad. So, not as glamorous as you'd think. The trip to... Did I hear bags? Did I hear dono? I thought I heard a dono. Perhaps I'm wrong. The trip to Bali was a 3-pronged attack. 1, I needed to leave the country that I'm in to go to another country temporarily in order to be able to return to the country that I'm in. It's a whole visa thing. In many countries of the world, you need a visa before you arrive there. In some countries, you have a limited amount of time on your visa before you have to leave the country. So you have to leave the country for a certain amount of time and then return to the country in order to like start the process over and get more time allowed in the country. So that was the primary purpose of it. The secondary purpose of it was, of course, to go and see a new place I'd never been before and hopefully have a nice time, which I didn't really have a nice time, but still the other reasons were more important. The third reason, and the reason I chose Bali as the destination, was because I know that in Bali, just from the internet, Bali is a place where there are so many influencers and people who appear to be living this like digital nomad, sexy lifestyle. Don't get me wrong. Not just the women, the people in Bali that I saw were without a doubt the sexiest people I've ever seen in my life. You've never seen more Russian models and like Australian bad gal and dudes from the UK and Australia and Russia who are just like tanned, cut surfer dudes, or like on their laptop in a fancy cafe eating like a $15 smoothie bowl, and they have their AirPods in, and they're doing some shit. You could just tell e-commerce is happening. And so that was the other reason I wanted to go to Bali, was to film this 100K subscriber special, because the 100K subscriber special, I don't want to spoil, but it has to do with these concepts of like how we perceive people that are living this life versus the reality of the situation. And that's why I went there, to experience it myself, as well as, of course, multi-level marketing and just a topic that I've been wanting to discuss for a while, which is just concepts about money overall, money and finance overall, that I haven't really had an appropriate I guess moment to talk about on the channel. But this 100K subscriber special is very special, and it's me in Bali. That's where I filmed it, and yeah, I very excited to have you guys see that. Bali is fake, Miami is way better, says Christopher Filez. Bro has never been to Miami. What up, Susie? It's all good that you're late, because I was also late. Did I see the big spiders? No, thankfully I didn't. Iron Amway instead of Iron Man. So funny. Captain Primerica, Uncle Scam, not Uncle Sam. So funny, Grace. Wants you to help me recruit more. Wow, that's funny. The Incredible Herbalife. Get a flat shield and have a decal made to fit the shield. That could be good. Granted, I have like 4 days left to even do this. Captain Primerica is the first Avenger. Instead of Captain America, the first Avenger, Captain Primerica, the first recruit. Woo! We're cooking! I knew you guys were going to help me out with some ideas once I brought you the premise. Thumbs up the ting, by the way.
Thumbs up the ting.
Captain Primerica is the first Avenger. He got a cut for every other Avenger recruited. So true. So true. Bali used to be amazing 20 years ago, said Snow. Man, I went there a few times as a kid. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil the video, but I definitely felt, bro, literally only 74 people have clicked like, but 140 people are watching. Make it make sense. Make the math ain't mathin'. I felt in Bali, I felt that I was so late to the party. I felt like I should have been there 5 years earlier, because it was gentrified to hell. So busy, so many tourists.
Danielle Watson donated 10 Canadian dollars.
Yep.
Someone's got to start the donos off.
Danielle Watson, thank you for starting off the goon tax. I smell a dono war incoming. I smell bags being chefed up. I smell people want the validation of a streamer saying their name. I feel it in the lightning coming from my hands. I feel it in the cosmos today. But yeah, Captain Primerica. I felt that I was so late to the party out in Bali, because barely saw any Indonesian people. I feel like the traffic was so fucked. Yeah, I just felt it was fake. I just felt that it was so pretentious. I felt, never mind the construction as well. It was like a fuck living on a construction site. I could just feel that the people there, you see these people, and perhaps I'm judging a book by its cover, but I feel like there is something to be said about judging, about your gut instinct about things. I could just feel that it was people who were like in Bali because they wanted to like post on Instagram that they were in Bali more than anything, But yeah, Alexis gifting memberships to Sharia Smith. I don't take any responsibility at all. It wasn't my fault. Thank you so much, Alexis. Look at this. And you know what? the beauty of watching this on replay is that if you're watching this on replay and you scroll through and you see that we didn't get the bread that we should have got, that the gods want us to get, you have the power as a person on the replay to hit the super thanks button in the comments and type a comment and say,
thanks, Marco.
or hit the Streamlabs link in the chat and I'll see it and I'll email you personally and say thank you for the bread. We appreciate that. Because there's another bad news. There's another bad news. The first bad news, LOL. I didn't even say the fucking bad news, the first one. The bad news was after I got back from Bali, that's what happened. We call it the weave. I went on the tangent about Bali. Here's the bad news. My credit card was stolen.
Money.
It's an evil world we live in.
I got back home and I was checking my credit card statement and there was 2 charges totaling almost $400 where someone had booked flights using some like Mexican airline that I had never heard of, never seen before, never used, and it certainly wasn't me with the flights that I took to and from Bali, because those showed up on my credit card statement as different transactions with the company that I booked those with. So it was like Aero, I don't even remember the name of the Mexican airline that these, charges were made through. So I had to call my credit card company, spend 45 minutes on the phone with them. They have to do a whole investigation. I canceled my credit card. I'm waiting for a new one. So hopefully I get the money back. Blah, 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 blah. Also, when it rains, it pours. Because in a 24-hour span, the same 24-hour span, this is right the day I was leaving Bali, 3 things happened. 1, the credit card was stolen probably sometime before that, or this was the day I noticed the charges. Charges on my credit card that weren't me. New legal bill for $1,000. Whoa!
You're fucking poor.
New legal bill for $1,000. The biggest in the last. Let me think about it. I can't even really say that, can I? It's the biggest one in the last couple of months, that's for sure. But still, always fun when you wake up thinking you have the amount of money you have, and then you look at your phone and you realize, oh, this has to go out, this has to go out. Never mind. And also within this same 24-hour span, YouTube withheld nearly a quarter of last month's payment. Why? Because every few years on YouTube, you have to resubmit your tax information. I did resubmit my tax information before the deadline. However, when I go to like the form on AdSense, and the YouTube help support chat person that I talked to told me this as well. They're like, yeah, it's still pending. We still have to it's still in review. So it wasn't, despite me doing it before the deadline to claim my tax treaty as a Canadian citizen and say that yes, I'm not subject to these taxes, blah, 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 blah. It was pending. So pending the application being approved, they withheld nearly a quarter of the payment. We're talking hundreds of dollars, which I needed. And when I asked about how I can get the money back, they're like, oh yeah, if it's approved, you'll get the money back next year, like in the new year after the. So that money's effectively gone because they say I can get it back, but it's going to take months for me to get it back. Same thing with the credit card from the credit card company. Presumably I can get the fraudulent charges reimbursed, but how long is it going to take? Yes! We love it. We love it. So, and I mean, to sandwich the bad news within some good news, the good news is Streamlabs link in the chat is open 24/7, baby. So we can fix all these problems, We can fix these problems. It's literally it's a double-edged sword. 1, of course, shit happens. 2, thank God that I've been working, so hard. I have all these videos ready to drop. But still sucks. Still sucks. Okay, all that is out of the way. Yeah. I'm open to an unlimited income opportunity. Yeah. Aero Viva Bus. I think it might have been that. I think that sounds about right. Somebody definitely stole my Aero Mexico. It might have been that too. I don't know. Did you see the JRE pod with the orange man? Yeah, I mean, it was to be expected. They didn't really. Trump never talks about anything that's like different. I feel like, you know. Replay goons, where are you? Where are you? Storm Chaser Patrick. Holy, the name keeps changing. Storm Chaser Patrick Pineda Beyond Wix. You know, aka Beyond. The worst news is that I was the one who stole it. Also, I have rebranded. Yes, we see that. Thank you for stealing my credit card, Beyond. Really, really appreciate you. Amazing. Thank you again, Alexis, for the gifted membership. Legend Gaming in the chat says, I'm gay. That reminds me, there was another idea. What does somebody say? Lots of enagic. What? Sometimes I have comment blindness. Yes. Oh, enagic distributors in Bali. I believe that with the Kangen water shit. Rewatch the Captain MLM stream. Yeah. Super MLM man. Is that the one you're thinking of? I've been meaning to clip that one for like over a year and I still haven't. Legend says I'm gay, which reminds me, my other idea for a Halloween costume was this guy. The why are you gay guy. I forget his name. But I thought, what's the most on the the reason I thought of this was because on the last stream I talked about how I did blackface once for a Halloween costume where I was 2 Chainz. Simon, his name is Simon Kajwa Ninjala. Ninjala. I did blackface for a Halloween costume, and I was talking about that experience, and I thought, what's the most offensive costume I could do? And I thought, doing blackface is one thing, but doing blackface in order to doing blackface in order to portray a character who is also homophobic, it's like double offensiveness, you know? It's like, not only are you playing this character who's famous for saying, why are you gay? Who's not even a character, he's a real person. He's famous for saying, why are you gay? And on top of it, doing blackface. Obviously. Yeah, it cancels it cancels out. It cancels out, you know? No, I mean, obviously I'm saying that in jest, but I thought the idea of it was funny about how offensive it would be. I steal Marco's credit card. When I steal Marco's credit card, I won't tell anyone, but there will be signs, flights to Mexico. So true. And you know what's crazy? It was a round trip. There was 2 flights. It was there and back. So somebody was very bold with it. Manifest some more money. So true. So true. Vince has been raging about you hard. Oh, that might have to be another stream. Still, Vince? I haven't even talked about you, Vince. What is his name? The Home Business King. See, these people, I don't even think about them. They make videos about me. The Home Business King. What is it? Reacting to E-Beggar? No, he hasn't. Here's his channel. 4 months ago, E-Beggar, always Marco. Something about Marco. I live in a trailer. Where has he been doing it? Vince, let me search. Vince, let me search his other channel. Perhaps he's been talking about me on there. Here we go. Oh, he has a video about Diddy. He didn't say shit about me on his channel. What the fuck are you talking about? Maybe it was on Facebook or something? Anyways. Shout out to, is this Streamlabs thing legit? Yes. Why does it glitch? Why does it glitch? I mean, Super Chat works as well, supposedly, but I always try to direct people to Streamlabs because YouTube takes 30 fucking %. Shout out Christopher Terry. Specs stole my credit card. What up, Sev? Where was the We Are Live in the Discord? Oh, Bomba Clot! I forgot to post it. I had too much shit going on. I posted it last night so that I wouldn't forget, which was this morning for you. And I just, I guess, assumed Argentina suffered a recent explosion in Ponzi schemes. Horrible. I guess I'll do it now. We are Venom. We are live. I posted it so I wouldn't forget, assuming y'all would set the reminder for yourself, but I need to hold the goons' hands. What can I say? I need to hold their hands through this journey. It's okay. Thank you, Danielle, for the dono. Dressing up as Patrick but David, aka just me with a suit on and my hair slicked back. Nobody would know what I am. All good, Patrick. I'm beyond. I'm sure you're watching the replays. Anywho's. He rages about you in videos that are not even about you. He's like BFR every show, no matter the topic. Oh, I see. Okay, so I have to go watch his. Okay, let me see. Maybe I'm judging a book by its cover. I just really don't want to watch his shit. The Home Business King. Here we go. Let's see his most recent video. Tupperware files for bankruptcy. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, this was a month ago. He probably is talking about me here because I covered this. Add ADM. Let's go. Thank you so much. He says, let's go, Marco. Let's go, Marco. Any hockey fans? Okay,
Fucking drink
let's see.
and smoke. Well, my mom didn't smoke, but you guys get my point. Hey everyone, Home Business King here at homebusinessking.com. Before we begin, be sure to bringing up this particular subject there, because you got a lot of people walking around and getting on these live streams. They're getting on these podcasts stating that Tupperware went bankrupt due to the fact that they were a multi-level marketing company. Well, if you think that, then you are wrong!
God damn. Well, we're not wrong, Vince, because this is just another one of the companies in a trend of companies, 6 in 6 months, if my numbers are correct, MLM companies that have gone under, and only one of them, as far as I know, has admitted that it's because of the business model of MLM itself, but any rational, logical thinking person can infer that the same is true of the other ones. I mean, is it a coincidence that they're all going bankrupt within a month of each other?
Wrong. The truth of the matter is that Tupperware really should have ended back in the 80s. The reason why it's still sustained, that may sound pretty bad at first, but
say my name, Vince.
Every month they had a Tupperware party and bill. At this point in time, Tupperware obviously wasn't a full-time business. It used.
He's lost in the sauce. I'm not watching this. Let's listen to the new Losing Fortunes radio that I have queued up, or let's listen to the Comeway diss track first. Let's listen to the Always Marco diss track. Here we go.
Be sure to disregard us at losingfortunesradio.com. In addition to our marketing.
Here we go.
Y'all really thought it was a regular episode of Losing Fortunes Radio. Psych, it's Pooter on the beat handing out L's to Comeway. I'm going to let young Scooter take the lead on this track. Hit him, Scooter.
Thanks, Lil Pooter. This time I won't be handing it back. Comeway, you're nothing but a scheme selling dreams, but it's all smoke and steam. Your tools are trash, but it's all for cash. Leaving people broke, no success at all. Promises of riches, but it's all a lie. Recruiting friends and family, making them cry. Your products are pricey and quality's low. You're just a cult, and it's time to go. You prey on the hopeful, the vulnerable too, selling false hope. It's what you do, but I'm here to expose your fraudulent game. In the name of Hentai Comeway, your reputation is nothing but shame.
Bars.
So pack up your kits, close up shop. Your pyramid's crumbling. It's time to drop. You won't deceive anymore. We'll stand tall, Comeway. Your empire's about to fall.
Bars. Nah.
One last thing, this is to my ops. Always Marco the Narcomuca Bear. Watch out or you're next on the list. Back to you, Lil Pooter.
This beat was brought to you by the young Glizzy Master Lil Pooter signing out.
Holy fuck, what the hell? Davon in the comments, I pray Scott finds this and makes 38 points to debunk his AI self. That's so fucking funny. What the fuck? That was posted November 3rd, 2023, almost a year ago. Did I really never respond to that, react to that? I must have. I must have at some point. Well, Sev, thanks for being here. Susie thinks I should be PBD for Halloween, but I'll literally just end up looking like my dad. PBD and I've said before that PBD and my dad are very similar. Captain Primerica wears nice shoes. Yep. I love those shoes. Damn, Vince does sound like Cleveland Brown, doesn't he? Benjamin is tardy. Streamlabsing in the chat. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear excuses. I want to see bags.
You're fucking poor.
Extra sticks and berries shall be gathered for the cult. Yep, thank you. Pisco's America says, I'm a San Jose Sharks fan. Great. Thank you so much. Everyone, you can breathe a sigh of relief now that you know Pisco's America is a San Jose Sharks fan. It's exactly what we were talking about. Maybe I'm too new, but why all this beef with you, Marco? LOL, says Danny. Well, Danny, in case you're not caught up on the lore, it goes back. I mean, there's countless hours of this lore between me and Scott and Peter. Years ago, I think it was 2021, I was kind of blowing up on YouTube a little bit. I had a couple of videos that were really, really going big. And Scott reached out to me via email to be on their show. And I looked at the show, and I saw that it was on some HTML, WordPress, Microsoft Paint looking website that had I'd never heard of it. It wasn't YouTube. It wasn't Spotify. It wasn't like anywhere anyone would actually listen to a podcast. Never mind the fact that it was also audio only. Never mind the fact that their audio quality was terrible. Never mind the fact that I could tell, even from not knowing any of the back end data of their website, that nobody used this website. Nobody listened to this. And it was just two guys rambling on the phone every week. I politely declined. When he asked me why, I was honest. I said, I think I can reach more people by myself than I can by going on your show. And I didn't say it in a dickish way. That's just the truth. It wasn't because he didn't have enough audience for me to get new viewers and get views and shit like that. Literally, when it comes down to helping people, how the fuck am I going to help anyone going on a show that no one listens to, where I could do a show that I was already doing on my channel, a live stream or videos? I could keep doing those, which had an audience that was continually growing, and put the information there. Made no sense. So after that, he still wouldn't let up. He still persisted. You don't know how important I am. You don't know who I am. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't realize how much respect you should have for me. And he showed his true colors. The next email I sent to him, and the final email I sent to him, just said, "Hey, Scott, go fuck yourself." Ever since that point, these two grown-ass men old enough to be my grandfathers have been dedicating time every week for the last almost 4 years now to either dedicating whole episodes or dedicating time each episode to talking about how stupid I am, how wrong I am, how the thing that I said in my most recent video or stream was wrong. And every time they do, they just keep feeding into it more and more. And every time they do, I react to it. They say the goons are stupid. Those streams that I do about them talking about how the goons are stupid for donating money, the goons donate more money just to spite them. I love it. If I wasn't so petty and it wasn't such good content, I wouldn't do it. It's beneath me, truly, as a YouTuber with nearly 100,000 subscribers. But hey, it's building up the lore. They're part of the rogues gallery, you know, them, Dominic Izzo, people who I can't name. We love it. We love it. So more power to them. Well, no, actually not more. Just the same amount of power to them. Always come co. So true. This song is so trash. I love how the AI, Scott Johnson, actually like stutters and has a bad flow the way real life Scott Johnson probably would if he tried to rap. So funny. Zombie Joe went to junior high and high school with PBD. My best friend lived in the same building as him. Interesting. Skibbity, Ohio, toilet with the Riz. So true, Burger Baron. So true. Matter of fact, let me say it again with this background on. Skibbity, Ohio, toilet with the Riz. Captain Dreamstealer. Marco, do you have interest in going on podcasts? I'm guessing you're asking me that because the follow-up is to ask me to go on a podcast. I have not gone on any podcasts, and I don't plan to because, to be honest, every podcast that's ever hit me up is like, it's one of two situations. One, the people are like, hey, bro, I'm planning to do a podcast. I'm planning to launch a podcast, and I would love for you to be on the first episode. The amount of times I've gotten this exact message makes me think it might be the same guy every 6 months trying to ask me the same thing. I'm planning to do a podcast, and I want you to be the first episode. What this actually translates to, the subtitles on the screen actually say, hey, bro, I don't have any audience. I haven't done anything. I want you to use your audience and do this podcast with me, but I'm actually relying 100% on you to promote it and blast it anywhere. I'm not offering you anything. There's zero incentive in terms of like more eyeballs on your work, new people learning about you. I'm also not offering you any money to offset the lack of incentive in growth. I'm just literally asking you to do me a favor, do multiple favors to me. Go on the podcast, answer all the questions that you've probably answered before, and also cut clips and promote it and use your platform to get me new followers. And it's literally going to do nothing for you. That's the reason I haven't done any podcast. It's either that situation or it's a situation where somebody actually they actually do have a podcast and I go to it and it has 10 followers. Maybe you think this makes me sound like I only care about the numbers or that this is like a vanity thing, but actually think about what my goal is here. If my goal is to reach as many people who don't yet know what MLMs are so that they can be forewarned about joining them, or to reach people who are currently in them so that they can unbrainwash themselves, or to find people who used to be in them so that they have a resource to send to people who fit one of the previous two categories, then me going on a podcast or an interview or whatever it is, a collaboration with a channel that's not going to help me reach more of those people is completely fruitless. Fuck the viewers and the viewership.
SL_01B 973 C0 minus 63B 43041 donated 10 Canadian dollars. Hope this helps you procure that Captain Primerica shield. Don't get too excited. Bought your credit card info from a data broker.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You think someone got my credit card info from a data broker? Is that what you said? That's interesting. Let me see. How does that work? Where is it? They keep changing the goddamn Streamlabs website look. Here we go. Tipping. User. That user. Can't even. How could you read the name? That user said, don't get too excited. I bought your credit card info from a data broker. Oh, I see. So you're donating to me with my own credit card. Gotcha. I appreciate it still. But yeah, if my goal is to help more people, then going on a podcast with no viewers doesn't help me at all. And also going on a channel where all of the subscribers probably already subscribe to me also doesn't fucking help me. You know, some brand new account posting, anti-MLM stuff with 100 followers asking me, let's do a collab. I have 100,000 followers. You have 200 followers. Do math, I know it makes me sound like a dick, but actually, I'm focused on helping people. And if anything, I'm rejecting the vanity of having people stroke my ego by obliging them interviews where they're going to praise me on, endlessly. It's actually the opposite. It's not about, you know what I mean? A Vegas Golden Knights fan over here, Burger Baron. Thank you. All you guys just unsolicited giving me your sports teams you like. That's good. So no, Andrew Noble, I don't have really an interest in going on podcasts. If, I don't know, what's a big podcast? If Joe Rogan asks me to go on, I'll go on. Or if Patrick Bet-David wants me to go on Valuetainment, I will. That video is at almost 400,000 views now. I've stolen thousands of people's dreams, so true. Windows 95. They do have, Scott and Peter do have an audience. It's us, so true. Ash says, Wagwan. Wagwan, Ash. Nothing makes Scott and Peter more upset than goons donating money. It's true. Scott's like Trump, without the success or money. Yeah. So true. Should collab with Coffeezilla or Pocket Watching with JT. Yep, I've collabed with Coffeezilla before. Not in like a official video that I've posted on my channel, but remember that one stream I did in 2021 or 2022 where Coffeezilla just randomly called into the stream and he was like on screen on Zoom? I gotta find that stream. It was like a random stream that wasn't about MLM at all. He just tuned in. He's done that several times. He's like been in the chat before. Let's see. Don't forget your audience members who've gone on and torn them a new ass. Yep. Yep. Beyond says, I've definitely never once done that. He's done both. We need a Jubilee episode with all the pro MLM people against Marco Robert. Yeah. Yeah. Jubilee. One guy versus 10 Huns, or 10 entrepreneurs versus one dream stealer. And it's like those circle videos where it's like me sitting in the middle and they come there and they're like, so why do you hate MLM? I'm like, it's a pyramid scheme. Peace out, Walter. Have a good sleep. Bag is bag, and I gotta get the bag.
I gotta get the bag.
So true. Thank you, Danny, for saying it's not at all unreasonable. Appreciate you, Dimitri. Oh, you okay? That was Dimitri donating with the strange username. It's not a mutual exchange of value to engage with smaller channels. I agree. And by the way, I still do. I still help. I still help where I can. Don't get me wrong. I'll share posts if I find them good. It's not like I'm not gonna at all do anything, but within reason, you know. Like I've gone on Julie Anderson's live stream several times, even when her channel was smaller. I think now she has like 7,000 subscribers. But like over a year ago, I was on her channel. I've had her on my show. You know, she also, you know, she also supports me. She was the first, I think, episode of Multi-Level Misery. No, she wasn't. She was the second one, I think. And, you know, she's been gracious enough to share her story with me. And she's also just like a person who's really committed to doing this. You know, she posts more content about MLM probably than anybody I can think of. So, yeah, shout out to Julie. If you're ever in Japan, come to my house and I'll feed you well. Thank you, John Reardon. Appreciate you. I would like to see you promote smaller anti-MLM YouTube channels. Yeah, I mean, I have before, and you know, I've been burned several times because a lot of those people that I've tried to put on end up like only talking about MLMs for like a little bit, and then they move on to talking about like social, you know, movements or politics or something else. So I was like, okay, that was kind of a waste. Or they end up getting involved in some nonsense drama within somebody else within the anti-MLM sphere, and I'm also not interested in any of that. And yeah, you know, it's clear to me to see who's really about it and who's not, you know. And Julie Anderson is about it, so you know. My storm chasing live streams regularly outperform my channel size. My average has been around 100. Amazing. Yeah, that's really awesome. Live streaming is strange. I've seen channels that have like 1 million subscribers that are live and they like won't even have 1,000 viewers, and it's like kind of strange to think about, but sometimes it'd be like that. I also, there was times in 2021 where I was doing debates where I had 1,300 people watching live and I only had like 30,000 subscribers. Now I have 100,000, almost 100,000 subscribers, and it's so iffy. Like live streaming can be, I like it both ways. I like the live streams that are small and intimate where I'm connecting with the goons, and I also like the big ones where I'm debating, but I kind of like the small ones more, to be honest, because the big live streams with hundreds or 1,000 plus people watching, the chat is going by so fast. You can't even read all of it. And usually if there's that many viewers, it means that something is happening within the content, like a debate, which makes it so that you don't even have time to go and read the chat if you wanted to. So I got to do another debate soon as well. Yeah. The real value is it's largely conservative stay-at-home moms who watch my storm chasing streams, which is why I need you to take you on a storm chase sometime. I mean, the conservative housewives love me. So true. We pull so well with the conservative housewives. Have you ever heard again from your friend that joined WFG? Says Dimitri. We did have an exchange in 2019 after my first video about WFG came out. And recently there was a comment on one of my videos. Somebody asked me, I don't even remember what video it was. Somebody asked me whatever happened with that or something like that. And I posted a comment in response, and I said, would you want me to do a video about like what happened between me and my former best friend? And there was like a lot of likes on this comment for how, I'm trying to find where that comment was. Friend, let's see. Anyways, I posted a comment in reply, and I said, would you like to see me do a video? Oh yeah, here it was. It was on my community post. That's why. It was on the community post I posted of the meme. I posted this. This meme. Somebody commented, what happened to your former friend who tried to recruit you into an MLM? That got 17 likes, so people were interested about it. I said, do you want me to do a video on that? 68 likes on this comment, and a bunch of comments, of course, saying yes. So I have a video planned to do where I go through the Facebook messages explaining like how the relationship completely fell apart. Peace out, Sharia. Pandey replay, yes. Watch the rest. Pandey replay. Appreciate you. Okay. I get spoiled watching Julie with no ads. Amazing. Daily live stream? That would be that's too much. Because then I'll just end up talking about nonsense. That Will Smith stream was crazy. So true. Not true. At least not for severe weather streamers. It's mostly people who are worried about the weather. So there's no brand loyalty. Oh, I see. Yeah. That's the tough thing about the audience. You got to be careful how you build your audience, man. Better to build brick by brick with people who really fuck with you than to, mess around just trying to go viral and you have a dead audience. I met this one kid at the gym about a month ago, and he's 20 years old, and he told me he's an influencer. He has 185,000 YouTube subscribers and like 200,000 something on TikTok and a bunch of followers on Instagram, over 100K. And most of his videos don't get any views. Like he has 185,000 subscribers, so almost double what I have, right? And good editing, good quality content, everything like that, but gets less views than channels that I've seen that are like half my size even, And I went to his channel and I was like, let me figure out why this is. And I had a theory about why it was. There are lots of people, and Bali is a great example of this as well. So I'll talk about this here because I didn't talk about it in the video. Not all followers are built equally. Not all platforms' subscribers are built equally. The most valuable currency in terms of followers is on YouTube. YouTube, like anyone can have fake Instagram followers. Perhaps there's a way to have fake YouTube followers as well. I don't know. I know that was a thing when I was younger, but I thought Google had pretty well stamped that out. Or it's at least very easy to tell. But even on Instagram, you can tell. Go look at the engagement. Somebody will have 1 million followers, and their last post had only 50 comments, and then you click on the comments, and it's actually only 25 comments, and the creator themselves responded to every single one of them. So the creator themselves was 25 of the 50 comments. They were half of it. So just from that alone, you can tell, okay, majority of these are fake. There's a similar phenomenon that happens on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram where they're not fake followers, but they're just followers who don't give a fuck. TikTok is the best example of this. TikTok famously pays virtually nothing. The amount of views you would have to get on TikTok for it to be like worth your while is so astronomical that it might as well be impossible. Like no one should even strive to try to get that amount of views because it's just so ridiculous the amount of views you would have to get to like quit your job on TikTok. Truly. I use TikTok as a means of bringing people back to my YouTube. This kid I met in the gym, I went to his YouTube channel and I'm like, why is he not getting any views on YouTube? And he has so many uploads and 185,000 subscribers. And then I went to his shorts. This is how you can figure it out. You go to somebody's YouTube shorts, sort by most popular. And this is where you can figure it out. They will have maybe 1, maybe 5, maybe 10 viral shorts maybe they have something to do with the content that they normally post, like their niche, or maybe they're completely random. But these people will have a short blow up, and they'll get so many followers from it, but these are followers who followed you from a short. You know, these are not people who subscribe to you because you did an actual, like, compelling piece of, you know, journalism or something like that, or like made a really entertaining video. It's just like you went viral one day, you hit the algorithm, and you've been repeating this trying to grow, but your audience they're not really engaged. They don't really give like a fuck about you. And that, I think, is like the worst thing, because it's kind of embarrassing, right? If you have over 100,000 followers and you know, over 100,000 followers, and you're getting like, I don't know, 1,000 views. But what do I know? What up, Nightwing? That's another thing Beyond is noticing. No brand loyalty. The people crave the storms. That's the thing. Like, I noticed there's two types of creators. Whereas, like, there's creators who people subscribe to them for the concepts that they do, or like the ideas they have. Mr. Beast is probably the biggest example of this, right? You don't really know anything about Mr. Beast, the person, from watching his videos or any of his friends, because it's not about them. He's just the facilitator of whatever the spectacle is that's happening. And he does very well with that. But what if Mr. Beast decided to upload a vlog? I think it wouldn't do good. You know, what if Mr. Beast did a vlog channel? I'm sure just based off the sheer number of followers he has, he would have a substantial amount of followers, but like, would people really, you know, care as much? Is he is he an interesting guy? I don't know. Then there are channels like, probably Emma Chamberlain is the best example of this I can think of, or like Casey Neistat, where it's like you're in it for them, you know, them, the personality, and whatever they're talking about. This was something that I was very worried about, you know, pigeonholing myself with when I was first on YouTube. And this is why it wasn't until 2023 that I actually decided to focus on the niche of MLM, because prior to this, I was so worried about like getting pigeonholed, and I kind of resented the anti-MLM creator label as well, because I have so many interests and so many thoughts on so many different topics. You know, I know a lot about like media as well, like movies and music culture, and I have a lot of thoughts about, like, you know, different political things. And I think like I think I could be a good voice in any of these niches I went into. But I realized that like trying to be everywhere, trying to do everything at once so soon, maybe wasn't going to work in terms of growing, because if you're still trying to grow, it's not really helpful to have a video doing stand-up comedy one week, and then the next video is like a music video, and then the next video is like a commentary video talking about, like, you know, the big you know, news of the week or whatever. It just was a hodgepodge. So I was like, okay, let me focus on one niche, and then perhaps I'll figure out ways to branch out from there in the future. So that's what the path we're on right now. And I see several pathways forward in terms of things that I could be like a voice on, whether it's politics, ideally not politics, but like media, yeah, different things. I don't want to reveal too much, but I think even a channel like Penguin Zero, you know, Moist Critical, his videos are all just like, there's no evergreen content really. It's just his take on things. He's a great example. It's like you want to hear his take, and him talking to his webcam for 10 minutes can get 1 million views, and often does. He's a great example of like people are just in it for him. Like you'll see people in the comments referring to him by his name, Charlie, and they'll call him by his first name like they know him. I don't know if people don't have that same connection to Mr. Beast. Flat out, they don't. So yeah, I think I could do good at doing a channel like that, where it's just like my thoughts on a thing. And coffeezilla has really shown me that there's a way forward with this too, because coffeezilla has his second channel, Voidzilla, where there's no production value at all. It's just him literally in a void with a black background talking to the camera with his unfiltered thoughts. Like, it's not really scripted or planned out. And so I'm like, okay, coffee can, this is perhaps a way that he's branching out. So yeah, I don't even know how I got on that tangent, but yeah, I mean, right now, Beyond, you're like a concept. People are in it for the concept of storm chasing, right? They're not necessarily in it for you, Patrick. So but that's not bad. That's not necessarily bad. You can perhaps transition it the other way. When you're small, you should probably just focus on growing and embrace the niche. If you found a niche, it's funny, I did an interview with perhaps I should release this. I have like a whole more than an hour long podcast that I filmed with Bottom G. You guys remember the reel I put out of this reel right here? This short? This one? He's asking me to infiltrate Hustlers University to find out whether or not it's really a scam. But I did one better. I went straight to the source. People are always asking me to... That's Bottom G, obviously the guy who looks like Andrew Tate. Very talented singer and dancer, Brian Michael Hines. We actually filmed like a whole hour and a half long podcast. We went... That clip that you just saw was filmed after we did the podcast. That was like a last minute idea that I had. But I actually met up with him to film a podcast of us talking. And I haven't released it. It's uploaded unlisted on my YouTube channel. Like, I have it. You could watch it. But I haven't released it anywhere because I'm like, I don't know what I want to do with it. But anyways, during our conversation, we talk about how like both of us at some point have felt pigeonholed and like rejected our niche. Him with being like the Andrew Tate lookalike guy, and me with being the pyramid scheme guy. Both of us have gotten this thing where it's like he'll walk down the street and people will be like, "Oh, Bottom G," or "Oh, you're the Andrew Tate guy." And this had bothered him in the past because he knows who he is and that he's such a multi-dimensional person, way more than just being the Andrew Tate guy. And you know, he's like, he has these ideas about music and dance and videos and stuff that he wants to do that sets him apart. But people only want to talk about Andrew Tate. And me, it's the same thing. Like, there's been so many times where I'm at the gym and people are like, "Oh, the pyramid scheme guy," and I'm like, yeah. And I rejected this as well because it's like nobody likes to be made to feel like they're one dimensional or that they, you know, are not interesting, or I don't know. Nobody likes other people telling them what their value is or what they are. So I rejected this as well. But during our conversation, we talk about how like both of us had independently come to this realization at some point where it's like, it's such a beyond first world problem to be like, "Oh, I'm stuck in my niche." It's like, how lucky you are to even have a fucking niche. You know, how lucky you are to even have any followers that give a fuck about what you want to say ever, you know? And how lucky I am, particularly, to be blessed with the speaking ability and voice and confidence that I have in order to be able to like do these infiltrating a pyramid scheme videos and confront scammers and debate with people. And like, you know, I didn't really do anything to cultivate those skills, I don't think. Like, I just had them. And him as well, he had this skills and talents of being a singer and dancer, and it's like, you know, we're both using it to the best of our ability to try to, you know, shine light and bring joy to the world and help people and whatever. So yeah, we talked about how it's like such a first world problem to be like, "Oh, I'm stuck in my niche." It's like most people who upload content will never get an audience ever, you know? Like, even Mr. Beast is another example. Like, he uploaded for years before he ever had like 1,000 subscribers. Like, I'm even more fortunate than that, you know? My fourth video ever had like over 100,000 videos on 100,000 views on YouTube. And I remember in like a day I got 3,000 subscribers when I first put out the World Financial Group, the first video. Like, that was what started my career, and like literally it was my fourth YouTube video ever. 1 month in, I was doing a video a week, and I was going down the list of video ideas hoping something would blow up, and that did. And yeah, I became monetized within the month, and bam bam, you know. But yeah, anyways, we should probably get to Building Fortunes Radio because I've been live for over an hour already and haven't You know, I delayed for an hour, and then I was talking about other shit for an hour. Dimitri needed to use a VPN to watch some videos. Yep, WFG Part 3. Beyond, I do 2 types of streams, commentary and storm chasing. A core audience who always tune in, and they always tune into my commentary and storm chasing. That's awesome. See, that's why I like to do the streams as well. You know, we have the members. By the way, the chat is not nearly green enough. Somebody needs to gift some memberships or buy a membership. But yeah, I love doing these streams to talk to the real core cult, you know? Yeah. Also, beyond, I agree with that, like trying to build an audience that's there for you as well. But also don't reject the vehicle that's gonna get you there, you know? Like be okay with the viewership on the commentary videos being lower than the storm chasing for a while. And maybe just like periodically sprinkle in a video of you doing commentary. Don't keep it like so 50-50. You know, you got to get people in one breadcrumb at a time. Yeah, John Reardon's story is keep me updated, John. I got your emails, but yeah, so sad. Glenn is in the chat. MLM is fraud. What up, Glenn? Appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Missed you. Marco, you're the king of anti-MLM. Thank you, Glenn. Marco Opinions. Thank you, Grace. There's a lot of other things you could do, but please keep fighting evil MLM companies. I think, I mean, you could do what I'm doing literally about almost any industry. Like, let's say you have a channel where you really love, like, for example, shout out to Panda Bear. I know he doesn't watch this, but one of my friends, Panda, he is really into like flight, like aircraft content. Maybe I'm not doing it justice describing it, but like flight simulator and talking about different, like, you know, aircraft related things. You could literally do such good content talking about like the lobbying efforts of the, what's it called, the AFA or something like that, the airline, whatever they're called. The airline lobbying. You could talk about like corruption, like Boeing. You could like expose virtually any industry in the West the same way I'm exposing multi-level marketing. Absolutely, you could. You could do it with food. Like, let's say you had a channel that was about like fitness and health or like diet. You could do the same thing, talking about how like this company that owns this food brand has this label on the box, but actually it's not, you know, truthful. And then you find out that they've actually donated X amount of money to this political person in order to get that. Like, there's you could pull on the threads of any, you know, any of these things to like expose a greater conspiracy that's going to help bring viewers to your channel who are gonna listen to and appreciate the more niche elements of that topic as well. So if I was doing content about like planes and I really wanted, you know, most of the content I wanted to just do like flight simulator and play flight simulator, and I wanted to get people in for that, I would do some bigger videos where it's like an investigation style video exposing the corruption of airlines. That's going to bring people to my channel. They're going to see, hopefully, oh, this guy knows a lot about aircraft, and he has other interesting videos about the most overrated planes, the most underrated planes, the planes that were decommissioned for being too unsafe, the top 10 planes of all time, the top 10 private jets, a whole bunch of other aircraft related content. But I have this like main series as like my big hook for bringing people in. That's exactly what I do with my channel. You know, my flagship series is called Infiltrating a Pyramid Scheme, but I've done, I think, less than 10 of those videos total. Maybe it's 10. I don't know. 4 on World Financial Group, 2 on that company, 2 on that company, 1 on that company. Yeah, I think 9 videos. And I haven't released one in over a year, although the next one I have coming is really huge. So yeah, and then you come to my channel and there's a content about other elements of it as well. Yeah. Sid says, Andrew Tate is broke now. That's why he started pushing the crypto coins. LOL.
You're fucking poor.
Yeah, I watched CoffeeZilla's latest interview on Andrew Tate, and I saw it early on Patreon, actually, because I'm a patron of CoffeeZilla. And, yeah, I really, really don't get what the fuck is up with Andrew Tate, bro. He was for so long talking about, like Coffee even shows this in his video. Like, he's literally talking about, I'll never push a crypto coin because it's a pyramid scheme and a Ponzi scheme, and in order for you to win, someone has to lose, and it's like the greater fool theory, where your ability to make money depends on you being able to convince someone else to buy it for more than you bought it for. And that was all true, and I respected that Andrew Tate had that outlook a year ago or whatever it was, because Andrew Tate was someone who in his position could have been hawking taking big deals to hawk all types of crypto and products and whatever. And then the first thing that I noticed was, like, he had a coffee that he was promoting, like this home, coffee you make at home. And he was promoting this coffee, and I was like, okay, there's like that's the first like product placement that I've noticed. Then he had this pre-workout supplement, Fire Blood, that he started promoting. I was like, okay, there's another one. Then he started doing all the crypto coins, and I'm like, bro, crypto? Like, what the fuck are you? I don't know. How is it that you were? Most influencer people who do this shit are just shameless about it. They just go straight into doing it. But I've never seen somebody like be vocally opposed to it and point out how it's fucking like crooked to promote crypto or shit coins, meme coins, and then go and do it. Andrew Tate, I gotta say, lost some respect from me for that, because that if there was one redeeming thing about Andrew Tate, it was the fact that at least he wasn't using his platform, which you can't deny that he had a big platform or has a big platform. If there was one thing that you could appreciate and respect, it's that at least he wasn't using his platform to push crypto. When every other celebrity had been doing it, even Kim Kardashian at one point had done like an Instagram story promoting some moon token or something like that. It's like everyone was doing it. Everyone was in on it, and he was the one person I can think of that wasn't doing it. And that's a shame. I had people reach out to me. I've had people reach out to me. Like, I remember a few months ago, I did a long email exchange. It wasn't many emails, but the emails themselves were long. And this guy, shout out to this guy, I'm not going to say his name. He has a YouTube channel where he made many videos about Andrew Tate. He made many videos about Andrew Tate. Small channel. The videos had like around 1,000 views. They were like small videos. But anywho, oh, actually, I'm looking now. He's gotten some more views on his channel now. But anyways, he reached out to me a few months ago, and most of his channel, literally almost all of his videos, are about Andrew Tate. So this guy reached out to me, and he said in his email, I come across your video about PBD. I see you cover pyramid schemes and MLMs. I've been campaigning against Andrew Tate's program, The Real World. And I've had lawyers look over evidence I've collected and agree that it is an illegal pyramid scheme. It relies on members recruiting new members through the affiliate campus to stay afloat, blah, 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 blah. Now, he sent me everything he had, and I had several exchanges with this gentleman, and I told him that I wasn't planning on doing a video about Andrew Tate's Hustlers University, and many people have asked me this in the past couple years, so maybe I'll address it here and clip this or something. Many people have asked me, why haven't I talked about Andrew Tate's Hustlers University? Well, I talk about multi-level marketing schemes, pyramid schemes on this channel. And many people have thrown out the term pyramid scheme when referring to Andrew Tate's Hustlers University. But as I explained to this guy in the email thread, again, disclaimer, I'll give you the same disclaimer I gave to him. I'm not saying that Andrew Tate's Hustlers University isn't or couldn't be a scam. I don't know if it is because I've never been in it. I've also never had anyone reached out to me who claimed to be a victim of the scheme or who claimed to have been duped by the scheme. And I think, considering my status on YouTube as like the guy who exposes multi-level marketing schemes, if there truly were victims of it, I would have heard from at least one person, because my comments and DMs every single day are inundated with stories from people about every MLM under the sun, and I've never had one person reach out to me saying that they were scammed by Hustlers University. So while I'm not saying that it isn't a scam, I don't know if it is, I can confidently say that it's not an MLM, and that's why I haven't talked about it. I don't think it was an MLM. Nobody has ever been able to send me anything that shows like a compensation plan that even remotely resembles an MLM. Even this like referral program that people refer to as the pyramid scheme element, they are misunderstanding what a pyramid scheme is, because the referral thing that they have, if you don't know, there was a program, and this is how Andrew Tate kind of became famous, which was really smart, is he had a program within his online school where if you made clips of Andrew Tate talking, you could cut clips of him talking, post them on TikTok, and you would get bonuses for like how many views they got, because you were pushing Andrew Tate's profile, his public persona was growing. And if you got people to sign up for the Hustlers University program from one of your affiliate links that you advertised through these viral clips, you could earn money that way. However, that wasn't a pyramid scheme, because you were actually getting paid for refer. It's actually very smart in my opinion. People were getting paid to refer people to the program. People weren't getting paid to recruit people to the program. And as far as I know, you did have to be a member of Hustlers University in order to even be part of this program, but you weren't recruiting more people to make clips and recruit more people. You were recruiting people so that you could get a commission when they signed up. And as far as I know, no one has ever been able to send me anything that showed that, like, well, if you had 5 people who you referred, you would get this much money, and if you had 10 people, you would get this much money. So, unfortunately, I had to disappoint this guy who reached out to me and tell him, like, I'm sorry, perhaps it is a scam, but I would be doing bad faith journalism to throw an accusation out there that it's a pyramid scheme, because I take my journalistic integrity very seriously, and I pride myself on being one of the few people on planet Earth who knows this topic probably better than most people. I'm probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the world on the topic of multi-level marketing, if I had to guess. And I don't think that Hustlers University is an MLM or a pyramid scheme. That being said, could it still be a scam? Sure. Could it still be a cult? Sure. But I talk about MLMs on the channel, and I don't think that Hustlers University was an MLM. And I think the guy was disappointed, because he just expected that I was going to be like, yeah, it's definitely a pyramid scheme, let's go. And I had to check him and give him a real world reality check, because he said he had lawyers look over evidence. Well, if you come to a lawyer and you say, I want to hire you because I have this assertion, a lawyer will gladly take your money. Not all lawyers, but a lawyer will gladly take your money. And all the links that he sent me and articles and supporting stuff was like stuff from Vice, which, first of all, I don't trust Vice as a journalistic source generally to begin with. They have done pieces where, Vice has reached out to me and they've asked me, can we use clips from this video or that video in a piece we're doing about, they did some videos about I Am Academy. And I think they might have quoted something I said in one of my videos about it. I don't remember. Those videos were good, but they've also done some not good things in terms of their journalism, in my opinion. And like, those were his supporting evidence. He had a petition that he did. He said, I had a petition that I did last year with over 21,000 signatures. I mean, petitions aren't proof of anything. And then his videos where he's sharing quite literally his opinion. Again, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't prove anything. So I told him, I broke it down for him. I said, look, when determining if something is a pyramid scheme or an MLM, I use the 4 red flags of a pyramid scheme, the 4 determining criteria that Robert Fitzpatrick, who in my opinion is the world's #1 expert on what is a pyramid scheme, I shared with him the link to my video with Robert. I gave him a very thorough response. Like, I wrote paragraphs, and I said, Is there a pay to play? Is there an emphasis on recruiting? Is there an endless chain structure? Is there an extreme money transfer? And I told him what I just told you. And I said, at the very least, only two of these criteria are satisfied by my analysis of Andrew Tate's Hustlers University. So I couldn't in good faith say that it's a pyramid scheme. And he got back to me and gave me some more like screenshots and stuff, but again, it didn't. Some of the stuff you could have said was like slimy marketing. Some of the stuff you could have said was like incentive to recruit people or refer people. But it was clear from my convo with him that he actually didn't understand. There was one thing he said where he was like, I actually think Hustlers University is not a legitimate MLM, but a pyramid scheme in disguise. When he said that, I knew he didn't know what he was talking about, because when he said that, I was like, okay, he's not even deep enough into the rabbit hole to understand that every MLM is a pyramid scheme in disguise. There is no such thing as a legitimate MLM, and there is no such thing as a pyramid scheme disguising themselves as a legitimate MLM, because every MLM is a pyramid scheme. And so, yeah, anywhoosies. Glenn says, yes, it's nothing like an MLM. MLM is recruit someone who recruits someone who recruits someone. It's more of a referral fee. Exactly. And plenty of legitimate businesses have referral programs. Andrew Tate had an aggressive referral program that also had another benefit, which was that even if people who were trying to get the referral money weren't successful, they were still blasting his videos out there, and his public profile was still increasing on these accounts, which was genius. I think without a doubt, everyone can agree, regardless of your thoughts on what Andrew Tate is, he is a marketing genius and probably the best online marketer of my lifetime. Did you ever hear about Andrew Tate more than 3 years ago? No. He's one of the most famous people in the world, without a doubt. Everyone has an opinion on Andrew Tate. That is a remarkable level of, that's a remarkable achievement. Even Mr. Beast, who's known for being like the biggest algorithm hacker and genius in the world, said that Andrew Tate gave him the idea for why he wanted to go on the podcast circuit like 2 years ago. Mr. Beast, was doing all these podcast interviews, and it turned out that the reason he was doing them, as he said on, I think it was the Flagrant podcast, he said like, oh yeah, Andrew Tate had this strategy of like, I can just go on podcasts, talk for a couple hours, and they'll cut clips that can be posted on social media for like forever, basically. And I don't even have to do anything. I don't even have to make my own content or post it on my own channel. People will do it for me. It works. It obviously worked. Yeah, it sounds like he just does not like Tate. I got that vibe as well. And also another thing, this was probably the biggest thing that deflated his whole criticism of Andrew Tate's Hustlers University, is that he said in one of the emails, he said, I have proof that Andrew Tate's cousin Luke, who's like a moderator for the Hustlers University, kicks people out of the program if they're not active enough or if they're not achieving certain milestones. And as soon as he said that, I said in one paragraph of my email, I said, okay, now that you've said that, I'm absolutely certain that Hustlers University is not a pyramid scheme, because no pyramid scheme would ever willingly push someone out of the opportunity. It behooves every pyramid scheme, which is in a constant state of collapse due to the mathematically impossible recruiting that needs to happen, and this churn of old people leaving and new people joining. It behooves an MLM. They need an MLM, or a pyramid scheme needs to keep people in as long as possible and continually recruit people. If this was a pyramid scheme, they would not ever, ever, ever under any circumstance push someone out, unless that there was like, it was like a Marco ACN situation where I did a video and Nathan in the video, his conduct reflected so poorly on ACN that they actually just ousted him. But generally, like for you know, low-level recruit, no MLM would ever push someone out of the MLM, ever. So, yeah, I think he just didn't like Andrew Tate. Appreciate you, Ronald. Thank you, man. It is pretty genius to get other people to do the work. 100%. Tate cashing in on the fact that nobody in the media is saying what he's saying. Yes, that's true. And of course, he used that to push whatever the money-making endeavor he had going was. And perhaps that thing is a scam, was a scam. I don't know. I never really had an issue with Andrew promoting Hustlers University. Again, no victim had ever reached out to me. I've never seen a video of somebody saying how they were scammed by it. I've never seen a video of someone like bringing forward substantive proof or even accusations that they were some way harmed by their involvement with Hustlers University. I've never even seen someone post like a regret of their involvement with it. And mind you, I'm a person who's been reached out to countless times by people saying, expose Andrew Tate. And I'm like, okay, what am I exposing? He's already made all of his views on every social and political topic public. What am I going to do? Do a commentary video being like, yeah, it's shitty what he said about this. People have already done that, and it speaks for itself. If you agree with him, you agree with him. If you don't, you don't. You want me to do a video saying, here's why what he said was bad about women or whatever, and here's why you should agree with me? No. I take it that people have enough critical thinking ability to decide whether or not they like Andrew Tate, and that my video isn't going to be the deciding factor in whether they do or don't. So that aside, I talk about MLMs on the channel. Show me how it's an MLM and I'll talk about it. Even show me how it's a scam. I'll be happy to expose it. There was a time when it was like an easy guaranteed. I could have guaranteed had an easy several 100,000 view video by talking about Andrew Tate, exposing Andrew Tate's pyramid scheme. I could have done a video exposing Andrew Tate's pyramid scheme in 2022 or whatever it was at the height of his fame. That would have got maybe 1 million views. It was like easy money to do a Andrew Tate expose video. And what would I have talked about? Well, yeah, people join it and he charges $50 and there's literally nothing to go off. Nobody has ever provided me anything. And this guy that I have referred to multiple times now has a whole channel with like dozens of videos talking about why Andrew Tate is a bad guy and a scammer. And I'm not making a comment on criminal accusations. I'm not making a comment on his rhetoric or his beliefs. I'm purely talking about, is Hustlers University a scam? And to me, it seems people have this bias where because they don't like Andrew Tate, or because he's been accused of this or that, or because he said something about this or that was disagreeable or offensive, that now in their mind he's a bad guy. So thus, the thing that he's promoting must be a scam because these other things have shown him to be a bad guy. And I can understand like following that logic. That's reasonable to me. However, even if you have a reasonable like assumption about something being a scam, you can't just assert that without proof. And I certainly couldn't assert that without proof. Otherwise, I would be undermining all of my journalistic integrity. And to me, that wasn't worth Dominic Izzo voice integrity. To me, that wasn't worth getting 1 million views on a video if I was just talking out of my ass. I like to know. That's why my infiltrating a pyramid scheme videos take so fucking long. Hey, any MLM who wants to sue me going forward when I talk about your company, when you come to court with the accusation that I've only made a video about your company to slander you and make money, consider that I've done less than 10 videos of this series in my 5 years on YouTube, infiltrating a pyramid scheme, and that the shortest span of time in between any two of those videos was several months. No, actually, correction. The shortest span of time between any two of those videos was WFG Part 1 and Part 2. Part 2 didn't really have much further info to share. It was more so my thoughts. That one was like, I think a week or two separated between them. After that, anytime I would make like a sequel video or like a new investigation, it was like several months in between. And now it's been over a year. And the last one I did, it was a year between that one and the one before that one. And now it's been a year since the last one. So And I've been working on one this whole time. So when these companies come out and say like, oh, you're just doing this to make money and whatever, consider how long it takes me to do these videos, and that if I really wanted to just slander you, I could make a video in 5 seconds like that. Literally, it would take me 5 minutes to be like, this company's a pyramid scheme, and easy. It would be easy. I wouldn't spend so much time reviewing it with people who know what they're talking about, sending it to people who know far more than me, going through documents and compensation plans and income disclosures and all this shit. You know, that to me is more important than the views. And I'm sorry if anybody who really dislikes Andrew Tate watching this thinks that I should have just gone after him, but I hope you can understand why I haven't. And guess what? If it turns out that he is a criminal, and it turns out that his thing was a scam, I'm happy to be the first person to say it. It's not like I'm over here defending Andrew Tate. What I'm defending is my own journalistic integrity of saying I'm not just going to hurl accusations at somebody when I don't know. I don't know. I think it's people love to look at things in black and white. Yeah, Danny says, MLMs are so desperate they beg people to stay. So true. I cannot stand Tate, but everything you're saying is true. Thank you. Glenn, my dad sponsored a person who stuttered and was totally unsuitable for Amway. Still, dad and his sponsor told him he could become rich from Amway. See? So horrible. Connect 1 Forex Signal says, I was in the university. I loved it. Okay. He says, I was in Tate's University for about 7 months and I want to go back. They helped me win in my trading profession. That is just me. I know his dirt no one talks about, but the university is legit in my opinion. So I have now 1 testimony of someone who claims to have been in it and 0 testimonies of people who want me to expose it. You know. Free Translate said, oh, Legend Gaming says, I got big pee-pee. Free Translate says, I think we millennials never fully understood the wild west of the internet. There's a reason why OG YouTubers are celebrities now, and new YouTubers struggle to even get by. You're already seeing nepotism in YouTube. Interesting. Chunky Chunko, yeah, shout out Chunky Chunko. He was the GOAT, but no, it wasn't him. William says, as much as I don't like Andrew Tate, his Hustlers University is not a pyramid scheme by definition. I couldn't agree more. Sev says, Tate is just a self-help guru, except he has a specific brand of being a stud, but he's no different than all the other guru grifters. It certainly is starting to seem that way. Specs, put an egg in that bitch. Put an egg in that ramen, make it better. Mix eggs with the water. Yeah, nice, nice. Spread awareness and make a little bit of money off it. Don't sound too bad to me, bro. I'm reading your comments. Coffeezilla joined Tate's thing and called him out for providing nothing you couldn't get out of a self-help book, and it was just a guru scam. Interesting. Okay, well, this stream is called Scott and Peter Aren't Happy, and we've been going almost 2 hours, so I suppose I should get into it. And let me just jump to right where they start talking about me, and we'll put a chapter marker here for the replay folks so they can just jump to it, and let's go. But of course,
welcome to Building Fortunes Radio.
Intro.
Make sure you check us out at buildingfortunesradio.com. Along with our marketing partners, we're here to help our PM marketing network lead customers build their businesses and make the world a better place. At Building Fortunes, we know how much your business means to you and the people important to you. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingles.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingles here. You're listening to us in Building Fortunes Radio on www.buildingfortunesradio.com. It's a Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 on the Central Side with a great friend of ours. This is actually his radio show. His name is Scott Johnson.
I don't know why he does this elementary school ass intro every time. His name is Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson and I started this radio show. It's going to be somewhere, I think he tells me somewhere around 9 years ago. So that's a lot of radio shows every Saturday at this time.
The fact that I was like just out of high school when they were doing this is so fucking hilarious.
And hold on one second, guys. I got two dogs laying in bed, and they are having some fun over here. They want to do something.
Hey, yo.
So anyway, so having said that, we are...
What do you mean by that, bro? Two dogs in the bed having fun? What up, Jose Kabuko Wagwan? And So Funny 37, thank you for being a member and being here.
This time, and hold on one second, guys. I got two dogs laying in bed, and they are having some fun over here. They want to do something. So anyway, so having said that, we are here every Saturday at this time, and Scott Johnson's radio show started, like I said, about 9 years ago when we... I did a radio show with a gentleman named Roger Van Vlissingen, and this is really funny, not funny, interesting how things come full circle. But I
Diddy vibes for real. Calvin Conway said, Tate is a scammer, and if he won't discourage that, he doesn't care about you, I promise. I don't know what you're talking about, if you're talking about me or what, but I can't discourage anyone from joining it because I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it's good, if it's bad. Connect One is sharing his opinion in the chat. What are you offended by? What am I supposed to do? No, don't join it. He knows more than me. He's been in it, according to him. I haven't even fucking been in it. Amway HQ, they have an HQ in Malaysia. It's not the HQ.
I did a radio...
Mark Roger Van Vlissingen off of your bingo sheet. Yeah, if you guys don't have BFR bingo, here, I'm going to put it in the chat right now. Losing Fortunes Radio bingo. You can go to this link, open this link in another tab or on another device, and you can follow along on the bingo sheet. So let's see, is Roger, no, Roger is not, when you load this up, it'll be different every time. So, Roger Van Vlissingen is one of the names that, oh, here we go. Beyond's channel is one of the names that will come up in the check box here in the bingo box. We'll get to it. But yeah, follow along with the bingo if you want. Two dogs on one radio show. Tap someone on the shoulder and say, have you joined yet? Broke back pyramid. So funny. Calvin says, learn about it then? ? I'll pay for it. First of all, Calvin, I don't have to do fucking shit that you want me to do. Calvin Conway, I don't know you from a hole in the wall. You're not a username that I recognize. You're not a person that I know in real life. Why the fuck do I have to go and learn about Hustlers University and join it to make a video about it and cover it because you said so? It's not an MLM. We've already established that. I talk about MLMs on my channel. I've never had anyone reach out to me with any conclusive inkling of evidence that Hustlers University is a pyramid scheme. What do you want me to do? Go join this thing, which you said you'll pay for. So you don't like Andrew Tate, and your solution to that is you want to help give him money via me, or so that I can go and do it. And then what? I go into the thing, I sign in, I choose whatever course that I want to take within the thing, the wealth, money-making creations, whatever he has, the money-making methods he has. I choose one, I spend time learning about it, and then what? Fuck my YouTube career, pause me doing YouTube to go focus on whatever the new skill is that I'm going to learn in Hustlers University, just so I can come back and either A, disappoint you by telling you I actually found it valuable, or B, tell you that I didn't really like it, or that I thought it was an outright scam. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, yeah, tell you what, Calvin, Streamlabs link in the chat. $50, right? Or how much is it to join Hustlers University? $49? Drop the $49. Drop it. Let's see. Drop it. I can't promise that I'm going to use it on Hustlers University, but go ahead and drop it. Go ahead and drop it. This is another great example of somebody, gross, you would not discourage him. What the fuck are you talking about? I just gave, maybe you weren't here for like the last 10 minutes. I just gave like such a thorough explanation of how I prioritize my journalistic integrity above all, and how I wouldn't hurl accusations at someone without the knowledge of it. So you want me to biasedly go and seek out a conclusion before I even have the evidence. You're only offering for me to pay for it so that I can go arrive at the same conclusion that you already have, which is that it's a scam. And I'm guessing you're someone who hasn't been in it and is just basing that off the fact that you don't like Andrew Tate, which was the whole problem that I talked about before. You're talking shit, Calvin. You're talking shit. You're literally talking shit. Again, could it be a scam? Yeah, I don't know if it is. And I don't care to go learn, because one thing I'm certain of is it's not an MLM, so I'm not really interested. And there's countless other videos. Coffeezilla himself did a video where he does exactly the thing you want me to do. Go watch Coffeezilla's video. Is me not doing it the end of the world when other much bigger creators have made videos that are going to inevitably be bigger than the one I would do? Coffeezilla already did it. Is something off balance with the universe now because me, Marco, didn't go do it? What are you talking about? Drop the bag. Does the dogs having sex in the bed count as embellishing a story for my bingo? I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I'll allow it, Seb. You know? Anthony says I stopped wearing Sauvage. Good, good. Fucking yappers. For real, Tate
Seb
aside.
donated 10 Canadian dollars.
Yes.
But for real, Tate
Thank you.
aside,
Thank you,
does
Seb.
two
Appreciate
dogs
you.
having sex count as
Appreciate you.
embellishes a story for my bingo?
He wants you to shit on Tate. There you go, Ed209. 10 seconds to comply. It's going to be the same shit you can find on another guru's course. Probably. He wants me to sign up with his referral link. That's so funny. That's like Calvin is secretly like in Hustlers University, and he's just trying to get the referral bonus. Alpha M and Tate collab would feed families. Yep. Appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate you, Sev. When I lived in Orlando around 2005, I was at Bank of America getting some help from a teller who tried to recruit me to Amway. Wow. Orlando Magic owner Rich DeVos is also the founder of the Amway company. Yep. Okay, so maybe there isn't even a referral bonus. So there you go. Calvin, explain to me what it is about Hustlers University that you have knowledge on that I don't have knowledge on, that by me joining Hustlers University, my mind is going to be changed and I'm going to learn. My guess is you think it's a scam because you don't like Andrew Tate. You weren't ever in Hustlers University. You don't actually know if it was. Yippity yapping. Again, I don't want someone watching this to think, oh, Marco is defending Andrew Tate, because I'm not defending Andrew Tate. What I'm defending is my own journalistic integrity. I'm not going to make a video saying that his business is a scam. Could he be a criminal? It's been alleged. I don't know. Has there been a verdict in the court case? Does anyone know more than anyone else? No, everyone has their opinion, but I don't actually conclusively know. This is a skill that's been lost in society, is the ability to just like shut the fuck up and say you don't know and admit you don't know, instead of having to be like having a strong opinion on everything. I don't know if he's a criminal. I don't know if he's actually a good person or a bad person. I don't know if his Hustlers University is a scam. What I do know is it's not a multi-level marketing company or a pyramid scheme. Sue me. Free Translate says, I hate Andrew Tate and yet I agree. It's too biased. There you go. So really, we're all in agreement, whether you like Andrew Tate or you dislike Andrew Tate, whether you're a fan of him personally and his content and his views, or you hate him, all of us can unanimously agree. it's not an MLM, or at the very least, we don't have enough information to hurl an accusation about his business one way or another. Hats off to all of us for being mature and recognizing this. And thumbs down the ting to Calvin Conway, who says it's gross that I wouldn't discourage anyone's involvement with it. It's gross. You're gross. You're gross. Eat my ass. Eat my actual asshole. just so like, I really want to be, I could see myself being like the YouTuber with 1 million subscribers who still beefs with people. Like still beefing with random people in my comments on a live stream, even when I have 1 million subscribers, when like all of my peers and subscribers are like, Marco, it's so beneath you. Like it's already beneath me. It's beneath me if I had 1/4 of the subscribers I have now. But I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta clap back on a motherfucking. They just don't shut the fuck up or listen, you know. It's secretly Tate trying to get new members. Genius. You know. Why are you gay? Okay. Let's Scott Johnson, Peter Mingles. Here we go. Dogs are in the bed.
Radio show with Roger Van Vlissingen as he was writing an article for Seeking Alpha.
I'm putting it on 1.25.
And it was about MLM stuff and anti-MLM stuff, and it was about when Herbalife was being attacked by the FTC. And I won't get into the reason why the conversation.
He did mention Roger Van Vlissingen. There it is.
With Roger Van Vlissingen.
There it is.
Circle, but I'm in direct conversation again with Roger Van Vlissingen on a totally separate topic. But the happenstance was he brought along E. Robert Smith, even had Robert Fitzpatrick on a couple of our radio shows. But
E. Robert Smith. Holy fuck, we're killing this bingo already.
Scott called me up and he said, hey, listen, I listened to that radio show or one of those radio shows, and there's something a lot of people miss. And I said, what's that, Scott? And he said, the tool scam associated with home-based businesses. And I wasn't really sure what he meant. I had an idea because I was associated with Amway 3 separate times. And
where's tool scam? There it is. Bro, we're almost at a fucking bingo.
Amway had this thing called the system. I think we used to call it more like the system. The system is sacred, where it was books, tapes, and functions. And unless you were part of this proven system, you weren't going to be able to duplicate your business, and you were going to fail ultimately and probably wind up in hell somewhere. So the reality is that I did this radio show, and I said, Scott, hey, you said something about the tool scam. Do you have a website? And he said, sure do. It's called StopTheAmwayToolScam.wordpress.com. And that's when I knew that he was thinking and talking about the same thing that I had been experiencing. So I said, you're right, Scott. Nobody really talks about the idea that people make money on the business as well as in the business. On the business meaning the people in the downline.
Okay, I'm skipping this. This is the story we've heard 1 billion times.
The idea of guests, sometimes we have
really frustrated. You do the same thing.
Here we go. Thanks, Peter.
All of these things, so I am, if you will, in tune with a lot of things that are happening in the MLM world. So Scott, thanks for being here on your own radio show.
Hey, Peter, thanks for having me. And yeah, you do the same.
Cut it to RVB. Dude's name is too long. Yeah, Roger Van Vlissingen.
Same thing for me. I research things in the MLM world every week, and this is a nice outlet to kind of get rid of some extra energy that builds up during the week when you read these really frustrating stories. Normally they're frustrating. I mean, sometimes we get some good news, but, usually it's the bad news because bad news is news. So that's the way the world works. But every once in a while, yeah, there's some good news. And, yeah, you mentioned the system, and that's exactly – I guess one of the terms that the tools are referred to by the upline is the system or the tool system, those kinds of phrases. And we do like to talk about this towards the beginning for the new folks that may not be familiar with what we're talking about when it comes to tools or the system. So what happens in Amway, and it happens in some other MLMs too, not all of them, but some other ones. I don't know of any of them that are as profitable as Amway's by far. I mean, it's incredible that they're making several times more from the tools than they are from Amway. That's how significant it is. So we're not talking about a 5 or 10 or 20% thing. We're talking about a, 300, 500, 1,000% type of a profit source. So it's significant. And like you said, not too many people talk about it. The FTC has started to talk about half of it. But and this probably started about 3 years ago. That's how slow the FTC is. But they started talking about it, I think it was 2021. One of the then commissioners said, we're going to start looking at not just the gross profit that comes out of the MLM. We're going to start asking about things like overhead. How much did it cost to enable you to make that amount of money? And we want that to be on the income disclosure statements. And so that's a start, because it does take money out of your wallet and put it in your upline's wallet. But the amount of profit to me is the most significant part, because it just totally changes the dynamics and the incentives, and it really changes the whole direction of the business. And if you don't know about it, then you're just walking through this financial landmine, not knowing that this is going on. And a lot of people, after they lose enough.
I'm gonna go ahead and mark on the bingo sheet. Scott spends a long time on a short story, and Scott explains something he doesn't really understand. I'm gonna go for the double right there. Double kill.
Money, they quit, and they find somebody else to replace them. They're actually finding people all the time to replace them, because they know most people are going to quit within a year. So going back to the tools.
Oh yeah, also Scott giggles. We got Scott giggles. Where's my button for the Scott giggle right here? Yeah, here we go. Scott giggles. Wow, we're crushing it.
This is meetings, books. It used to be in our day cassette tapes and CDs, but now it's all electronic downloads. MP3, MP4. You can put on your phone. They'll sell phone apps for you or to you. And then there's also things like website access and voicemail. So all these things is what I call the tool scam. And the reason it's a scam is because they don't talk about it while they're in, okay? And that's why I do know about it, is because some of the people who were making that money, after they got kicked out, they started talking about how much it was. And my favorite, poster child, I guess you could say, for this is a guy by the name of Brig Hart, and he spelled his name Brighart. And he gave a interview to a Salt Lake City newspaper, or I guess it was an online website, and he said, "Oh yeah, I was making almost $1 million a year from Amway before I got kicked out, and I was making $8 to $10 million from the tools. So that's about a 10 times plus difference between the Amway profit and the tool profit." And to me, that's significant.
I'm skipping ahead.
That's in the next discussion. Now the other
modern stuff like MP3. Yep.
Big problem that I see,
and two-way radio
with MLM, and I'm not anti-MLM. I'm just anti-tool scam.
There you go. Anyone who's going to be duped into going on Scott and Peter's show, he just said it right there. I'm not anti-MLM. I'm just anti-tool scam.
And I'm also scam in a very condensed discussion. Now the other big problem that I see with MLM, and I'm not anti-MLM. I'm just anti-tool scam, and I'm also looking to see if the MLM has retail sales. And what we mean by that is, are there people that are buying the products or services, there's things like insurance out there, that are not part of the MLM compensation plan. They're just customers. Because if you don't have customers, then what you have really is an illegal pyramid, just like the old chain letter and airplane game and the current gift.
Let's see what you guys are saying here. Modern stuff like MP3. When was this recorded? 1937. So funny. They're talking to Marco's new viewers, aka their only listeners. Lol, the new folks. You have no listeners. Alex. In all caps. You have no listeners. So fucking funny. Oh my god. At least put the shit on SoundCloud or something, right? Dude, it's so inefficient. Like, for me to skim through this, I had to go to the Building Fortunes Radio website, navigate to the page, click download MP3, which takes you to another page, click download MP3 again, download the MP3, put the MP3 into DaVinci Resolve, play it on double speed, censor out any parts that weren't appropriate, and then export that and upload it to YouTube just so I could be able to fucking do this. I'm telling you, I sacrificed for the goons. Streamlabs link in the chat. You already know Wagwan. We gotta get the bag. Gotta get that bag up. My girlfriend donated $1 to Marco on his live stream, and all he said was, "We gotta get that bag up." So funny. I think these guys hate tools so much because it was really a problem back in the day. Yeah, dude, exactly. I mean, Scott Johnson was in Amway for over a decade, and Peter hired and fired himself from Amway 3 different times, whatever the fuck that means. And so I think they both just they were both scammed so bad that they can't actually accept it, and it's all projecting. This whole thing is projecting too. And yeah, Peter's whole business is selling tools, selling leads. Jared says, I want to buy Tex and Ming a good setup so they can do this daily from their nursing homes. you may remember I offered to pay out of my own pocket for Scott and Peter to have like better microphones, so that the show would be better quality, and they didn't. As a matter of fact, one time they had technical difficulties and had to do the show on Facebook instead of on their website, and the audio was infinitely better. It was crazy to actually hear their voices through like not a tin can. Oh yeah, lack of retail sales. We got that on there.
Gifting schemes, and people, if they don't know what those are, they can just Google those terms. But basically, they are illegal pyramids with no products.
I'm not seeing lack of retail sales on my list, but maybe you guys have it on your bingo sheet. Everyone's is different. Let me know if you get a bingo, by the way.
Just push money to somebody and find more people to push money to you. And after 3 or 4 generations of that, you get a big payout. That's the goal of an illegal pyramid. Well, MLMs, if they don't have the retail sales, it's really the same thing camouflaged with products. If the products are, and they typically are 2 to 3 times more expensive than a similar product you can find in a store, then the first part of that purchase to me is legitimate, because you could have gone to the MLM and bought it, or you could have gone to a store and bought it for about the same price. But it's that extra money that really has no value. It's just extra money that's being put into the system. Is just like those other, no product pyramid schemes, and that's.
Yeah, Danny, I noticed that he did this as well. There was this girl, I think her name is Lavender. She put out a video recently that a few people had sent to me. I think somebody had posted it in my Discord. Her talking about like her Amway story of leaving Amway and how they treated her when she left, which was of course fucking horrible. And I had been in touch with Lavender. I think she messaged me and said that people saw her video and told her to get in touch with me, something like that. People had posted her video in my Discord, and apparently people had sent my stuff to her. And when I was looking for this most recent episode of BFR to react to, I saw that there was 2 episodes with Lavender, and I was like, oh fuck, they got to her, they had her on the show. So I told her last night, I messaged her, I said, Lavender, you can do your own research on these guys, but I would not associate with these guys if I were you. Like, anytime somebody new in MLM or an anti-MLM pops up, they jump so quickly, because Scott like lingers on the internet all day. They jump so quickly to try to get them on their show to like talk to them. Don't do it. Not a good idea. Not a good move. Not a good look. Yeah, they jump so quickly to try to get them on their radio show, just to like make people think they're not anti-MLM and slowly get them over to their side. Never forget when they had that one Asian guy, Jason, on their show. And then the next day or whatever it was when we were reacting to it, I called Jason and I had him on my show and convinced him correctly that Scott and Peter were idiots. And then Scott and Peter were pissed on their next episode. Love it. It's literally endless. The lore is so fucking endlessly deep. Peter lets Scott keep talking should be worth more squares than one. Yeah, right?
That's something that I don't think the FTC has figured out yet. I've told them many times. And
yeah, I mean, Danny, you said it yourself. You have 200 IG followers, and he was poaching people from your comments to be guests. I mean, it's no wonder he's blocked by like every anti-MLM YouTuber out there. He's just a nasty guy, real nasty guy. So true. He wants to talk about Amway. Nobody knows more than nobody knows Amway like me. Frankly, I do Amway so good, so bigly.
So far, they haven't seemed to have caught on. So.
Don't worry, Kylie. In this episode, they talk shit about not only me, also coffeezilla.
I have to assume that it's a competence thing, and anyone that is familiar with the Neora ruling from a year or so ago understands where I'm coming from. If they understand the ruling, and we talked about it on several of these shows earlier in the year, I think it was, or last year, and it's just pure incompetence. But
I don't think I could do a Trump impression as Patrick Warburton. Let's get to them talking about Always Marco, shall we?
Both by the FTC attorneys. We don't know exactly. But we do know we paid for the FTC lawyers.
Let's see. They're talking about Neora again.
When I say nobody, I don't mean.
I swear, after Peter does his little intro and introduces Scott, Peter goes off and like vacuums the house. No, let's be real. He doesn't vacuum the house. You can't even see. He goes off. He like shuts off the audio. He turns it down and he like puts his headphones on and like listens to something else. And then he tunes back in 15 minutes later when Scott's done ranting and he goes, yeah, great point, Scott. Anyways, 1,000% that's what happens.
Literally nobody, but very low, but certainly Amway and Herbalife, and there's probably others. I just haven't dug into it. It's hard to find this information and really figure out what's going on. But it really doesn't matter. If you don't do that, and some MLMs don't have tool scams, then you're okay in my mind. If you have a tool scam where that profit is unknown.
Oh yeah, Scott and Peter both got schlonged by the tool scam.
To the prospects and distributors, because once you make it known, it's not a tool scam anymore. It's just another profit source, and then everything is above board. What other business? What other, let's say, non-MLM business would you intentionally hide some of the profit, or in this case, most of the profit, and you won't find hardly any current as much from tools compared to Amway.
How is it that when I put them on 1.25 speed, I keep listening and it still feels like it's slowing down and I have to speed it up more?
So no matter what that number is, if it's 2 or 10 or anything in between, it's most of what they make. So anyway, I'll stop there, let you make some comments, and then we can...
He literally ranted for 15 minutes.
...into what we want to talk about this week.
No, it's all good stuff. So the tool scam is prevalent, like you had mentioned, in Amway, and we've done plenty of radio shows about that. And then there's different variations. And I made a reference a little bit earlier to the terms that I use to make money on the business or in the business. When I was looking at MLM as a business model for maybe doing something for a career when I came down here, I remember I was starting to research the industry, flew back to see Dr. Charles King, who taught an MLM course at the University of Illinois in Chicago, a real certified university course, as opposed to like Bill Keep's little MLM conference, which is an anti-MLM conference, but that's another story. And I said, Dr. Charles, one of the things that I've seen about this industry, as you dissect the business model behind it, is there's people that make money in the business, meaning on the downline, their products, their services, and stuff along that line that are, the commission as far as a compensation plan. And then there's people that make money on the business, meaning
okay, the tool scam, we get it.
That. But until they do, we'll keep doing this show. So because there are no explicit requirements for that disclosure, and I think there should be. And hopefully someday the FTC will wake up and realize that. But until they do, we'll keep doing this show. So
one thing I agree with them on is that the FTC should have better, more sensible, more truthful guidelines about what an MLM or a pyramid scheme actually is, because since last year when they lost the Neora thing, they've shot themselves in the foot.
But yeah,
in terms of their ability to litigate and shut down MLMs.
Those are excellent points, Peter. Now, it's interesting, just a few minutes before the show, I happened to be watching a commercial, and there's this company I never heard of. It was just started in 2020.
Great question, William. I don't know. Scott is just so fucking in denial. You've never seen somebody so in denial like Scott Johnson.
And it's not an MLM, but it's called Jones Road Beauty. And so interesting, it hit me, the thing that hit me in the world. It's something that is said that obviously is not true, unless you're not, as long as you're not stupid, you'll understand that it doesn't take literally.
Want to be Dexter Yeager, 1,000%.
A nanosecond to put this skincare makeup on, but it obviously takes less time because you're doing.
Would you say E-thing, Sev? E-thing, not every episode, but multiple times in the same episode. Bill Keep's on the bingo card? Oh, shit, let's see.
2 for 1. And so
I don't have Bill Keep on my bingo card, but he did mention him.
Reminding me of the anti-MLM Huns,
anti-MLM Huns, perfect.
Robert Fitzpatrick and all the other girls that are on, oh no, I said girls, not women. All the girls that are, because they act like little junior high school, cliques. That's why I call them girls, because they act like it, so they deserve it. But they say, and Robert Fitzpatrick is well known for this too. Oh, they said unlimited income. So that means infinite. And so it's got to be a scam. Well, no, it's just like applying the skincare makeup in a nanosecond. It doesn't mean infinite dollars, obviously, because there aren't infinite dollars. Now the government sometimes thinks there are, but.
Well, then what does, okay, so if unlimited income doesn't actually mean infinite, then what does unlimited mean? I'm trying to think of another definition for the word unlimited, or another way that it could be construed other than to imply that the amount of money that you could make in an MLM opportunity is potentially ever expanding with no end in sight. Even if you said the sky's the limit, it would be less misleading than saying unlimited income. To say the sky is the limit is a subjective term that someone will apply their own meaning to. If you say the starting salary at this job is $50,000 a year, but you work hard and the sky's the limit, somebody might reasonably assume that after 10 years, maybe they'll be earning, I don't know, $100,000 or $500 or $200,000, something like that. But they would never guess that it's millions and millions. But in MLM, and I mean, you've seen this in my own videos where people talk about in the first meetings. They're like, yeah, you get this many people, then in the first month you'll make $10, $20, $30, $50,000, and then after that it's unlimited. Well, if you're starting out, the expectation as being 30,000 a month, let's say, and you're saying that potential is unlimited, well, then what is someone to expect that they're going to earn after a year, 5 years, 10 years? If you say, I'm going to earn this much in the first month, you know, someone call Captain Primerica to explain this.
It's finite, right? It's not infinite. And anyone that's not stupid understands that. But that's a lot of what these anti-MLM Huns make big deals about. They'll do a 2 or 3.
I don't have misogynistic thing. I have homophobic comment, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
3 or 4 hour video on YouTube just about a topic like that. And they'll just beat that dead horse until it's a bloody pulp, you know, and it's just amazing. And that commercial just reminded me of how ridiculous a lot of these people are, or the whole thing of, you know, the infinite pyramid, right? Endless chain that goes on forever. This is another Robert Fitzpatrick classic.
Again, they totally misunderstand. Even though I've explained this, it's like every time they do a show and they say something and then I explain why that thing is objectively, factually, logically wrong, they never even address it, and they just move on in the next episode and they repeat the same thing later. Anyone, I mean, it's a shame. I remember I watched this, like, I think it was a CBC thing that Robert Fitzpatrick was actually in. It's like 20 years old. And this reporter, it's either CBC, yeah, I think CBC Marketplace. She's doing an interview with this guy who's pushing a pyramid scheme. And she's asking him about the endless chain because Robert had explained it to her before in an interview clip. So she, armed with the information about the endless chain, goes to the pyramid scheme promoter when she confronts him. She asks him about this. She poses the question to him, the challenge of explain how it's an endless chain. If I recruit 8 people and they recruit 8 people, how is that not an endless chain pyramid scheme that's going to be impossible to fulfill the next level after, I don't know, 7 cycles or whatever? And the guy, she wasn't prepared. He was more prepared than she was. She was a reporter who was just learning. He was a skilled snake oil salesman and pyramid scheme scammer who had all of the analogies and euphemisms at his disposal. And you know what he said? He said, well, Jesus Christ has been recruiting for 2,000 years, and still not everyone in the world is Christian. And she didn't know what to say because this sounded like it made sense. Of course, it doesn't make sense. And anyone who's saying that the endless chain thing, the unlimited pyramid, is an invalid argument because, like, this is what Scott and Peter, for example, will say, or Dominic Izzo will say. They'll say something like, oh, well, if it's an endless chain where you recruit 5 who recruit 5, and within 13 cycles, the whole planet is going to be recruited, how come we haven't seen that happen yet? Obviously, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. Because if everyone recruited to an MLM, recruited 5 more people, and everyone did that, then everyone in the world would be recruitable. How come we haven't seen that? Well, they're missing... Exactly. They've completely missed the point, and they show how stupid they are. Because the point is that if it did work the way they say it does, if all you needed to do was recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people to have unlimited wealth and success, which is what they say, then we would see everybody in the world recruited into the scheme, which is a whole nother layer of absurdity, because there would be no doctors, no bus drivers, no teachers, no construction workers, no lawyers, nothing. Everyone would be in Amway, for example. The fact that it hasn't happened yet is proof that it can't. It's proof that it's unsustainable, and it's proof that the lie of recruit 5 who recruit 5 is exactly that, a lie. It's proof that that is a lie. That if you just recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people, we'll make it, and we'll make millions. That is a lie. And that is how you determine that it's a lie. But they have all these clever little ways of weaving out around the question and saying, Jesus Christ recruited for 2,000 years, and not everyone's a Christian. It's like such a fucking absurd comparison to make, especially when you consider somebody's religious views are not applicable when we're talking about a money-making prospect where people are being told this is how you're going to make money. As far as I know, people are not told in Christianity that if you recruit 5 Christians who recruit 5 Christians, that is how you're going to achieve whatever the Christian equivalent of success is. But in MLM, this is quite literally their entire scheme. This is what they refer to as a business model. Well, it's not a business model at all. This is simply a Ponzi scheme, an illegal pyramid scheme, a scam, a fraud, a deception, an evil, a lie, whatever word you want to apply to it, a crime. So, once again, Scott, always stupid.
Endless chain. Oh, it goes on forever. You know, if 5 people recruit 5, and each of those 5 recruits 5, in 13 generations, the whole planet has been recruited. And obviously, that's not how it really works. And of course, he's never been in an MLM. He was caught up in the airplane game back then.
Of course, that's not how it works, because it doesn't work. Grace, theoretical physicists are still trying to calculate the earning potential. That's how great it is. So true. When 2 words are put together, it can mean anything. Yep. $30K a month after selling $1 million of product for the pyramid overlord. Yep. Oh, talks about women. Where was that? That's not on my list, is it? Okay, you guys are just putting what you've checked off the box. Okay.
The 1980s, you know, where there's no products at all. It's just a game of give me money and find other people to give you money, and then eventually you'll cash out for big money. And so he fell for that. And now he's been on this. I think what is happening is he feels so dumb for falling for that now he has to spend literally the rest of his life, right? Because this happened in the 1980s. He started writing his books, I think, in the late 80s or 90s. And so, you know, he's been at it for a long time. And he just keeps going on and on about endless chain and infinite profit and all these different things that
Another great point, free translate. Jesus Christ has bus drivers, burger flippers, and businessmen. They're not just all businessmen. Another good point. Scott and Peter can suck at egg, says David. So true. Thank you, David.
Really the equivalent of applying your skincare and makeup in a nanosecond. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because it's something I just came across just, you know, maybe a half hour before the show started. And I started just doing a little bit of research on this company. But I wanted to mention that, you know, get your thoughts and we can move on then.
I do. So that's a good example. And I could just imagine that.
Connect One Forex. Talking that talk. Streamlabs link in the chat, Connect One. Connect a bag.
Typical anti-MLM YouTuber who is part of the anti-MLM community, they call it, reviewing that commercial. Because usually here's the way it works. Somebody says about one word in the commercial, and then the YouTuber makes a smart comment, or they have to pause it, right? So they got to pause it, and then they have to make some smart comment, and then, you know, give you their dissertation of how stupid that comment made by that commercial would have been, and how
the moment they start on Marco, I'm gonna bingo 5x instantly. Yep.
Oh, this is the way the whole industry is, and this is why it's so bad. And then they'll go back to that, in your instance, commercial. They'll play another 2 seconds, stop it, and then have to sit there, roll their eyes, talk about how smart they are, you know, how bad this industry is. And you could just see that 1 minute commercial could take an anti-MLM critic about an hour and a half. So that's how they make an hour and a half video reacting to a 1 minute commercial. So you take a look at those things, Scott, and the gal says, you know, you can apply this in a nanosecond. And then the YouTuber, you know, shuts the video down.
Scott and Peter donated 10 Canadian dollars. These dudes are clowns, but they never get old.
Yep.
I love how obsessed they are with you.
Thank
and how
you.
you are completely unbothered and troll them so hard. I actually feel bad for them and hope they can find greater meaning in life.
You know, I think the worst thing I could have done would be to block Scott and Peter and never talk about them again, because the amount of content, the amount of laughs and joy that have been created from me flipping that situation into this never-ending content machine, it's incalculable. Never mind the amount of money. The amount of money that people have donated on stream who probably would never have donated to a streamer ever, just to spite Scott and Peter, who they know watch every episode, like to get involved with the beef and become part of it and have their chance of being mentioned, not only on my show, but on their show in the next episode, which Scott and Peter have been known to like take comments from certain goons and like lambast them. I mean, I think it's maybe the smartest move of my career content-wise, aside from infiltrating a pyramid scheme. You know? I miss when Marco actually used to troll them. Well, if those bags were dropping, I'd be calling them on the phone and all that. I still have Peter's phone number. I could still get through to him. Matter of fact, not only do I have Peter's phone number, I have Peter's wife's phone number. I shouldn't say too much. Appreciate you. I'm pretty sure that was David who dropped that dono. Yes, thank you, David. Appreciate you, bro. Okay, let's go back.
Her eyes usually. Sometimes it's a his, but most of the times it's a her. And she'll say, really? Really? A nanosecond? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I just finished a certification course.
They're like a radio show from Rick and Morty. So true, Shu.
For whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or I used to be a whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, we are the only BFR listeners. Ming wife in my phone. Thank you. Yeah. Remember when somebody commented? Nah, I can't even say it. You turned Scott and Peter into an endless chain for real.
Or I applied blah, 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 and now they're the expert. And they sit there and they talk about how a nanosecond there's no way possible that anything in the skincare industry could possibly be, skincare, personal care, anything good in a nanosecond. And they'd sit there and beat the hell out of the term nanosecond. And then anybody else would look at it and say, oh my God, like, are you really that retarded? That you're going to sit there and dissect every single sentence? And then they're going to say, sure. And then they go play another 2 seconds and they roll their eyes and they got to stop the video again as they do this reaction. And of course the audience just loves it because all the online trolls in the chat are then typing in stuff, so they'll look over and read some of the chats, and it'll be just a hysterical, if you will, example of just how weird these people are. They have some mental illness, and that would trigger people when I say mental illness. So I should probably throw in my trigger warning, because if you've ever been on those anti-MLM videos, you know they're tremendously woke. So they usually throw up a trigger warning, like, oh, if you're triggered by makeup, or if you're triggered by nanoseconds, or you have some type of time triggering system, you better watch out for this. And they just carry on. And I guess that's what social media is all about. And maybe there's a benefit because it keeps the really dangerous people tied into watching anti-MLM YouTube videos. But it is kind of funny. And then the smarter ones, because there's so many people that are being sued now, we'll probably move into this, that they start using these cushion words, these buffer words, these, what would you call them, like kryptonite, if you will, defenders, called in my opinion. So they do a whole video. And if you had to take out based on my experiences, based on whatever kind of things that are going to try to prevent me from not getting sued, I'm going to throw in all these words. So then if you had to chunk out all those words, you'd have far less of a video. But it's just kind of minorly or majorly annoying or amusing that they think I'm going to throw in this powerful eraser word called in my opinion. And they're a scammer anyway, or in my opinion. That's not the way it works, as if they're protecting themselves from a lawsuit.
This is one thing I'll actually agree with Peter on. Protective language might work, but I actually don't think it does. I think if somebody actually, maybe it works, but if someone really wants to sue you, they're going to sue you regardless of if you said in my opinion, or if you had a disclaimer or not. For example, the World Financial Group videos that I've done, the first few, which didn't have any disclaimer, and I'm pretty sure the ACN video as well, which didn't have a disclaimer, or maybe it did, I don't even remember. But the WFG ones for sure, which are among my most viewed videos, I never got sued over. And there's videos that I have put disclaimers on that the disclaimer did nothing to protect me from being sued. You can still be sued. Anyone can sue you for anything at any time ever. And even if you, for example, let's say you're talking about a company and you put a disclaimer in your video. Well, they could sue you, not over the video. They could sue you over something you said on a live stream where you made a comment about that video. And your live stream maybe didn't have the disclaimer. Or an Instagram story you made talking about that company, they'll sue you for that and say that that was defamatory or whatever. They don't even need to sue you because of the video. Then once they sue you for the Instagram story, they'll say, and also he has another video where blah, blah, blah. And even if you put the disclaimer, it doesn't stop them from bringing the suit. You still have to get a lawyer who's going to say to the judge, well, Your Honor, my client did have a disclaimer where they said this, this, and this. Then they have to argue about whether the language in the disclaimer was actually sufficient enough to defend against this specific statute, this chapter, subsection 6, whatever, of the law, and what the exceptions are to it, and blah, blah, blah. It's all a fucking game designed to just silence and destroy and harass people who expose the truth about MLMs. So, I do still use disclaimers sometimes, but if someone wants to sue you, they can sue you.
So having said that, I'll stop my little rant of amusement, and I appreciate you bringing up that commercial because you could just see how some of these anti-MLM YouTubers...
Yeah, I thought he said crypto knights, but I think what he's trying to say is kryptonite, like Superman's weakness, but it did sound like he said crypto knights.
Commercial and twisted into an hour-and-a-half video.
Yeah, and by the way, I think I mentioned this, but just to reiterate, this company is not an MLM, I believe.
Right.
They shouldn't pick on this company.
No, they wouldn't.
They make a big deal. Yeah, they would make a big deal about this nanosecond if it were. There's no doubt. But since it's not, they'll probably just pass right by and, have their...
Because, there's enough MLMers that give them enough content. But it's just a similar comparison on how, like, they would denigrate it in one regard, but let it pass in another. Is like that's their willful blindness or their cognitive dissonance or whatever kind of cliche they're going to come up that tries to make them sound smart when they're really very not.
Exactly. They have these two different standards depending on...
I'm going to go ahead and mark all good points, Peter, and back to you, Scott.
MLM or not an MLM. They just have a totally different, view of the same words. If it's in a different environment, it means something totally different, even if it's the same exact words used in the same exact way. It's totally different, which is nuts, of course.
Yep.
But that is the world we live in, and I think these people have always existed, Peter. It's just that the internet has never always existed. So now we're seeing the fruitcakes. Before we couldn't see them because they didn't have the ability to reach out like they do. So that's just a certain percentage of our world.
The good thing now is the good thing now is that they have to actually stay at home with a headset on and probably edit their videos. So they're inside more. They're not they're inside. Their audience is inside. The world outside is a safer place Thank goodness.
I agree.
They got these mental retards.
Keep editing those, I was just thinking about this the other day too. I was going to say keep editing those videos, but that's another aspect of this is they have a big problem when an MLM person recruits somebody and that recruit makes the first person money. They have a big problem with that. They just hate that. Why can't you just sell stuff and not have a downline? Well, that's how MLM works, and that's really how every single company works.
That's how a pyramid scheme works, Scott.
If you think about it.
And that's not how every company works. Here we go. He's about to give us the most generic example.
Of course, they can't think about it, or if they had the experience, they would understand this probably. But most of them do not have the experience. Where when you're at a company, especially a large company, there's people that are at the working level, and there's supervisors, and there's managers, and there's VPs, and presidents, and CEOs. And as you go up the ladder, there's less and less of each one of those titles, just like a pyramid. Oh no, it's just like an MLM.
Wow. So again, Scott should know this. I've debunked this 1,000 times. Just because something has a hierarchical structure doesn't make it a pyramid scheme. Something could be shaped like a triangle, meaning there's more at the base and there's fewer and fewer as you get to the top. That doesn't mean it's a pyramid scheme. Is your family a pyramid scheme? Because the amount of grandparents, maybe you have one living grandparent, and then there's your two parents, and then there's you and your two siblings, and it's getting wider as you go, and then there's your kids and the grandkids. It's like, is that a pyramid scheme? Is the royal family a pyramid scheme? Because you have the king, then you have the prince and the princess, and then you have the... Of course not. Of course not. It's complete nonsense. The pyramid scheme, of course, refers not to the shape, but to the scheme. And the way they detract, again, it's same thing like with the Jesus Christ analogy. Jesus has been recruiting for 2,000 years. So that's their way of deflecting about the endless chain question. It's a non-answer. Same thing with this, the pyramid. You'll bring up pyramid scheme, and they'll focus on the word pyramid and then start pointing out other things that have that same shape and ignore the word scheme. No, let's talk about the scheme part, because when those two words are put together, pyramid and scheme, we're talking about a new thing. We're not talking about something that you can draw as a pyramid. It's like if they were to say, oh, pyramid scheme, so the pyramids that are in Egypt, you think those are a scam? It's like, no, I'm talking about a pyramid scheme, not the pyramids of Egypt. Oh, well, you said pyramid. It's like, yeah, I'm talking about a pyramid scheme. Oh, well, everything's a pyramid. I mean, look, there's the CEO, and there's the manager, and there's the assistant manager, and there's the... No, I'm not talking about, like, a hierarchy. I'm talking about a pyramid scheme. Oh, well, we're not a pyramid scheme. Or they'll use the other one. This is my favorite sort of putting their foot in their mouth, where at the same time they believe two things which are contradictory. This is doublethink, if you've read 1984. Pyramid schemes are illegal, thus we are not one. And also, everything is a pyramid. So which is it? You are a pyramid, and that's okay because everything else is a pyramid? Every other company is a pyramid too, right? Because as you say, there's the manager and the assistant manager and whatever. So everything's a pyramid scheme. Okay, let's go with that. Let's play that out. So if everything's a pyramid, there should be no reason to be offended or sue anyone who says that you're a pyramid scheme, right? If everything is a pyramid, then it's okay, right? Because everyone's doing it. We're all a pyramid. I'm not unique in running a pyramid scheme because everything's a pyramid scheme, right? CEO is getting paid the most. Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme. Or are pyramid schemes illegal, and thus you aren't one, and thus it's a defamatory statement to say that you are one because it's a criminal accusation, and we're not that. Which is it? You cannot have it both ways. Well, you think we're running a pyramid scheme? Pyramid schemes are illegal. By the way, everything is a pyramid. So they say that we have a pyramid structure, but actually everything has a pyramid structure. So it's a complete fucking contradiction.
But the point is, the supervisor is not doing the work at the working level.
What up, Rainy Fairy? Yeah, I just mentioned you earlier on this stream talking about Scott and Peter. Yeah, I mean, I know literally every single MLM riddle and mind game and word trick that they use. I know all of them like the back of my hand, and I know how to debunk all of them effortlessly. And you see this in any of my debates. People just crumble and fold and start attacking me or dancing around the subject or changing the subject or acting like they didn't hear me or acting like they don't understand. Because these things only sound good and they only sound believable and convincing in their isolated vacuum of their opportunity meetings or Zoom calls where everyone in the audience is a plant clapping and cheering anyways and, curbing your critical thinking.
what people are doing, but they're getting paid more because they have that responsibility to organize, to train, if they have to discipline, whatever it is. But that's what they get paid for. They don't get paid to turn the crank, so to speak. And as you go up that organization, it becomes even more multiplied to where the bigger the organization, I'm talking about the non-MLM here, the bigger the organization is that's working for you, the more money.
Yeah, ice cream melts. Scheme and scam are different things.
You probably make compared to them, but it's not because of your production, it's because of their production. And you're keeping it on track. That's all you're doing is keeping it on track. And even these anti-MLM huns, some of them hire editors because they're too busy to...
Rainy Fairy, earlier in this exact episode that I'm reacting to, Scott says, we're not anti-MLM. We're anti-MLM when it's done the wrong way. And in his case, that only means having a tool scam. It's not the endless chain pyramid scheme where most people are going to lose money. It's not the manipulation strategies. It's not the bullying. It's not the false equivalences and lies and brainwashing. He's fine with all of that. But if there's a tool scam, which he coincidentally was a victim of for over a decade when he was in Amway, which he can't seem to reconcile or admit, then it's fine, according to him.
To do everything, right? They can't do all the research and make all the videos and do all the editing. And so they hire somebody to do the editing of their videos and they pay them. Well, that's the same thing as an MLM. So it's just crazy they don't understand that really simple concept. It's okay.
Yeah, you're sounding like Kamala Harris. Like there's a big country and there's a bigger country. And there's two words, artificial and intelligence. And like you're giving us the Kamala Harris version of MLM. It's like, oh my God, are they that retarded? Are they that retarded? I guess so. They can't figure even that out. The Kamala Harris has to come on to Building Fortunes Radio and explain that that's why they say it's a management.
That is a really good.
Rainey says, this is so crazy. All this stuff they're saying is the opposite of what they said to me when they had me on their show. I know. That's why I sent you the message telling you not to associate with them. Maybe you've become familiar with Julie Anderson since you've put out your video about Amway. Julie Anderson, great creator. She was in MLM for 5 years. She went on their show in good faith to have a discussion, and they were very polite to her. And during the same episode, after Julie was no longer on the call, Scott called her a nut job and still clings to this. But he was very nice to her when they had their discussion. There's another example where Scott Johnson did a debate with a creator named Savvy. Savvy writes books on YouTube. You can find her. There's a debate that he did with her. And countless women in the chat talked about how Scott had said horrible things to them on Twitter, called them slurs, bullied them, goaded them into, I'm not even going to go into it. You can go find that. Yeah, he said a lot of horrible shit during that debate. And then, was very nice to Savvy, and then has very not nice things to say. I wouldn't, not even behind her back, just when he's not directly on a call with her. And these guys are such cowards. Literally, Peter always loves to say, oh, I'm not going to pick on the girls, not going to pick on the gals. But that's literally all they do. And I shouldn't say it's all they do. That's all they used to do until I, of course, started drawing their attention toward myself and making content out of it. And they don't feel so bad talking about me, I guess, because I'm a boy. Yeah. According to them, I'm a boy. I'm not a man. I'm a boy. That's why I say that. But yeah, this is just who they are. They're awful, awful fucking people. And should not associate with them. It's all part of their long con, their long ploy to get people who are fresh out of MLM, who are still like confused about certain things, to try to like empathize with them and create this like common ground with them and rapport, in order to eventually convince them that not everything was really bad and gaslight them into thinking that actually it is okay. You just had the bad leader, the wrong team, wrong company, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, they're crooks. And also, it's so funny. Scott Johnson is so against the Amway tool scam, and his boyfriend Peter, who he literally hosts the show with. Oh, there's a homophobic comment. His boyfriend Peter, who he hosts the show with, is literally has made his whole career selling tools, scamming people. So, yeah.
Way of looking at it. We need Kamala on the show.
Yeah, we need Kamala. Come on, Kamala. Come explain MLM. Explain it to MLMers.
I think that's the perfect cherry on top of that topic.
There you go.
Let's see, what else do we want to talk about here tonight? We were talking about Instagram. That was great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's it's a totally separate subject. I was doing some. There's a gentleman that has he calls it like speed networking webinars. So I was introduced to that from
skip
one
ahead
of our
a bit.
Building Fortunes radio listening. It's kind of like, are you people retarded? Like, do you watch each other as you're sitting there rolling your eyes and using expressions like, in my opinion, and then you say whatever you say, or you call everybody a scammer, or you let the response video run for 3 seconds and you stop it every 3 seconds because you think you have to comment on every single thing that they say? Like, are you that freaking retarded? And I guess the answer is, that's just the way the world is sometimes. Kind of amusing, but for those people that are trying to do research, it's sad because they don't get real research when they watch anti-MLM channels. They get more drama than research. So
yeah, Grace, they are laying on their bellies, kicking their feet when they giggle. It's so cute.
I'll get off that horse and let you comment on that. We'll move on to whatever else you want to talk about.
Yeah, you're on a Kamala roll tonight, Peter.
Yeah.
remember who she is.
They talk about everything in this episode. They talk about how they don't like Kamala. They talk about COVID. They talk about me. They talk about coffeezilla. It's crazy.
She is the least favorite vice president ever, as far as I know. According to the polls, before Joe bowed out, she was at the bottom of any vice president ever. And it's incredible how all of a sudden she's their hero.
Appreciate you, ex-buddy guy X.
We'll forget about, she also ran in 2020. And she was the very first person to drop out on the Democrat side because she got no interest at all. People didn't like her at all. And now she's a Democrat hero. Well, we know why. I mean, Joe was gone. I thought he was gone before the last election. And so they had to quickly find somebody to take his place. Well, they have a pretty thin rank as far as, desirable people. So they figured, well, why not the VP, right? She's the closest to that position. So let's put her up there, even though she was the most disliked vice president ever and the worst candidate in 2020. If you go by the criteria of who dropped out first, and it's just incredible. I mean, it reminds me of, I've mentioned this before on the show. I was over in the Czech Republic back in 2008. Amway invited me and about 4 or 5 other IBOs over there to be at their biennial conference where they bring in all of their marketing people. And as I'm in one of the hallways one day, they were sort of getting set up. There was these 2 Amway employees. And this was back, I think it was like April of 2008. So it was, well before the election, when everybody was still in the race and all that. And they were both just infatuated with Obama. And my ears perked up like, gee, I wonder what they like about Obama. And one of the ladies said, well, I just like his smile. He has such a great smile. And I'm thinking, that's how you're going to vote for a president? Well, that's how a lot of people do vote for presidents. And
she's going to vote.
It's kind of the equivalent of what, that we've been talking about with all these stupid anti-MLMers, all these Huns that are making these stupid videos. There's just a lot of stupid people out there that don't have a clue because, Obama's own history, the only reason he really, became the favorite was he gave a speech at the 2004 Democrat convention, which went over, very well, and he is a good speaker. I don't like his politics at all, but, he's trading in a way to be in charge of the United States military. Do you really want them to be?
It's just about Kamala for the next few minutes.
Whatever, Jobs went down to college. If you remember that, Scott, if you've ever seen that movie with Rodney Dangerfield, do this and then they have to do whatever. He's like, you're a fucking academic idiot. Well, there's a lot of academic idiots out there, and they just sit there and the CBO said that whatever, we had 111,000, or they'll look at like the stock market went down by 1,000 points, and they'll sit there and they'll tell you a story about how the stock market went down by 1,000 points and how they tell you the story of how the stock market went down by 1,000 points, and they're like, are you freaking kidding me? Do you know how many variables are involved in the stock market going down by 1,000 points? And the idea that you know nothing about this, like you sit there and you study your fucking charts, you're an academic fucking idiot. So there's 3 types of idiots.
Peter's on fire this episode.
Useless, which is kind of like the crowd. You can do without them. And that's like the trolls that sit down on the rants that they have on these videos that they're doing online. So you get the whole chat room, which is like a cesspool, and people either playing or trolling or just, maybe protecting society because they're indoors and they're away from like sharp objects and maybe guns. And then you have your useful idiots. And if we were to name names, then, you got like Marco Mukaber, who's your useful idiot. And he's also a useless idiot too. So he has to do a role. So you got like a useful idiot. And the reason why, how can Marco be a useful idiot? It's easy. Robert Fitzpatrick doesn't want to get his ass sued. So he doesn't sit there and talk about World Financial Group or anything else like that specifically. He'll let Marco do it. It's kind of like, okay. So Marco's Robert Fitzpatrick's useful idiot. He's our useless idiot. He's Robert Fitzpatrick's useful idiot. And you just say, like, how can people not really see this? And it's just that people don't dig in that deep. And then, then you have, me, and I must be a fucking idiot based on some of the things that I mentioned. But the reality is there's really 3 types of idiots. You got your academic ones. They're sitting there, they're playing with their charts, they work for the CDC, they're giving you all the studies that you're reading, and if you really dig into the studies, you'd say, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Did you really extrapolate this? And like these academic idiots, they make a living by looking at a study and building up a story. It's like crazy. How can you not see this? And then you have your useless idiots, which is the general population, and your useful ones, like these anti-MLM ranters. And as I get off this, The only good thing is there's a cleansing process in the universe. It's called lawyers, and the lawyers have a tendency of cleansing the world of these useful idiots as they rant against these MLM companies because they get their asses sued. So you have, Marco is sued by, and then we have like Coffeezilla, who I just heard is being sued by Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whichever, Logan Paul I guess it is. And then now Sam Altman is being sued, and the people over at OpenAI are being sued by Elon Musk. So lawyers have a tendency of at least tampering down or shutting up some of the people that they say may be getting in the way of free speech, but they kind of do society a service of sorts. So back to you, Scott.
Yeah, I don't recall that Rodney Dangerfield movie, so if you can remember the title of it, that sounds like a great one.
Called Back to School, I think it's called. It's funny.
Back to School. I'll bet it is. Oh, he made some great movies. Yeah, he made some great movies, no doubt.
If you haven't seen it, it's hysterical. Yeah, because what happens is Rodney Dangerfield's son is going to college, and his dad wants to help him, so he goes to college along with him, and he winds up being in the same classroom, and it's hysterical, and obviously there's some classic one-liners in there, but Rodney Dangerfield was a really funny guy, and it was good, but I'm pretty sure it's called Back to School. Gotta see it. It's hysterical. That's like when films were good,
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are in those kinds of movies that would be, politically incorrect now. You'd have all the woke people complaining about everything. So
it's like All in the Family, or what was the theme thing that we used to watch as kids? Little Rascals. You got to watch Little Rascals. I bought the whole series for Little Rascals on CD because you can't find it anymore.
Is he really talking about Little Rascals right now?
Figured it was too racist, and they took it offline. Like, you can't find Little Rascals replayed anymore, I don't believe. So there was somebody that was buying, or somebody was selling the whole series. I bought the whole series on CD. It's hysterical. Like, it's hysterical. If you watch Little Rascals, you'd see what they did with buckwheat, and you'd see what they did with alfalfa, and Darla, of course, and Spanky. That's good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we live in a different world now, and so that's part of the problem. Was we're in a different world, and those people are getting a lot of the attention that's not deserved. And I agree with you from the standpoint, that these lawsuits do have a certain cleansing attribute to them. Even though I'm not a big fan of lawyers in general, because they're the only ones that win, right? One side usually wins, one side usually loses, but on both sides, the lawyer wins because they both get paid. So, they always win. So
that's true.
They're the ones that love to have lawsuits, and the people with the money often start the lawsuit, and the other side often does not have the money.
Mucha Bear? Sev, you don't know about my nickname? Always stupid Marco the Narco, Mooch the Goon, or Mucha Bear, because I'm a mooch, apparently, because I mooch my audience.
And so that's how you get into these settlements and, all this kind of stuff that doesn't really result in justice. It's just a sort of a financial intimidation thing. But that's part of our system, too. So, again, we have to operate not.
So they say the lawsuits are often not about justice. It's just a financial intimidation thing. And then Peter and Scott both also refer to it as a cleansing, that there's a cleansing method by suing, by people like me and Coffeezilla being sued into silence. It's cleansing society of our influence, as though, again, it's a contradiction. So which is it? The lawsuits are bad and they're used to intimidate, or they're good because they're cleansing the bad actors like me and Coffeezilla? Which is it?
In reality.
Well, very interesting sidebar relative to the lawsuits. Coffeezilla, who some people know,
Boomer jerk-off session for real,
has done a lot of videos on YouTube and almost hit a peak. And now he's getting sued into oblivion, so he's not making as many videos as he used to.
That's also not true. Coffeezilla's upload frequency has not been affected by this.
But he was a friend.
Is saying bought the Little Rascals on CD instead of DVD counts as uses computer in strange ways? Yep, I'll allow it. Thank you.
Or potentially as a friend of Marco Mukabear. And Marco, if you go to, alwaysmarco.lol. So if you go to alwaysmarco.lol, Marco called me, basically claiming to be Coffeezilla and wanted to talk to me, like do an interview or whatever. So you'll be able to hear that fake fraudster.
That's true. I left him a voicemail. I've left Peter many voicemails over the years, just for fun. Rainy Fairy says, Marco, mooching off people by making content that's free to watch and that prevents people from mooching on his viewers. LOL. Yeah, well, I guess. I mean, according to Dominic Izzo, I'm a scammer because I have a Patreon. I'm a scammer because I accept donations. According to Scott and Peter, I'm a scammer because, I put out this free content, and it's just to... This is one of the interesting things, too, perhaps you'll experience if you make more content about your Amway experience, Rainy Fairy, is... alwaysmarco.gay. Yeah, that's another good one. These people who are brainwashed by MLMs, as you probably, you've experienced it yourself. I watched your video. These people have every wall up. They have every defense in their mind prepared for how to block and thought stop whatever you are going to say. So in my case, you know, I'm a YouTuber. This is what I do for a living. I talk about these scams. Boom, boom, boom. They'll say, this is usually their favorite one to go to first. They'll say, oh, you're just doing this to get views and make money. And then I say, well, what about someone like Julie Anderson who doesn't monetize any of her content? Oh, well, she's just bored and she's doing it for views and trying to gain her grow subscribers. Okay. Now, let's imagine my videos didn't get any views and my channel wasn't growing and I didn't get subscribers. Then they would say, you're not even getting any views from this. Why don't you go do something worthy of your time? Go make some money. So it goes back around in a circle where they say, you're not even getting money off this. Why don't you go get some money? Then if you are getting some money, they'll say you're just doing this for money. The ultimate irony of that is that their entire cult religion of Amway or whatever the MLM is about money. It's about worshiping the idea of money. That's why it's referred to as a commercial cult. It's not a religious cult. It's not a political cult. It's a commercial cult. You're cultifying the idea of commerce, but it's not even really commerce because it's not customers buying things they want. It's a pyramid scheme where you're recruiting the next people who will buy the products, who recruit the next people who buy the products, and so on and so on. And there's nothing you can say to them. Make money, you're doing it for money. Never mind the fact that they're doing what they're doing for money. Don't make money, they'll say you're not even making money. They can use it as an insult either way. Oh, you're just doing this to make money. Okay, actually, I don't make money. Oh, well, you're just broke. You're just a broke hater. Okay, so there's no way to go about it. There's nothing you can say. These people have been so well indoctrinated. Anyways, I'll talk about some of this stuff in the video I'm planning to do with the showing the Facebook messages between me and my former best friend who was in World Financial Group and the sort of similar tactics he used with me.
Marco Mukabear, or real fraudster Marco Mukabear, trying to fake CoffeeZilla. So that's how I was first introduced to CoffeeZilla. But, you know, he made some decent videos about some other things CoffeeZilla did, not Marco. And CoffeeZilla did this video with Logan Paul, wound up getting himself sued after doing a couple more. But the very interesting thing about this is everybody, when they're new and sued for the first times, don't really know how to deal with this. So most lawyers know that. That's part of their business model. So the business model for CoffeeZilla thought he had insurance, and his insurance company basically said, nope, we're not going to cover you. So then, you know, he's sitting there saying, oh, shit, I thought I was covered, and now I got to figure this stuff out. So he's now starting to figure some stuff out, and he realizes the people that sued him are pretty smart. So they sued him in federal court in Texas where you can't use the anti-SLAPP thing, which means that, oh, crap, I got to really defend myself because I can't even get my legal expenses back. And wound up hiring one of the law firms that handled the Alex Jones, Sandy Hook thing, and these guys are sitting there, you could just see it. They're just sitting there and saying to themselves, you could just see it. They're rubbing their hands and say, yeah, we're going to be able to help CoffeeZilla with this one. He's got a really great claim. And by the way, when they're saying that, they're just greasing their palms saying, that's good. That's what we told him too. He's going to send us some money. And then he's going to send us more money. And then he's going to send us more money. And he's going to send us a lot more money because he's a YouTuber and he probably makes a lot of money on YouTube. So we're going to be able to figure out how we can suck this guy dry for as long as we can suck this guy dry. And that's really what those types of lawyers are all about. They're going to suck him dry, in my opinion. So
Peter knows a lot about sucking dudes dry.
I'm allowed to have free speech. They're going to suck him dry of his money, and poor CoffeeZilla doesn't realize what's going on because he's...
Yes, exactly, Grace. The quote, it's easier to fool someone than convince them they've been fooled. Yep. There's another quote that goes hand in hand with that. A lie has made it halfway around the world before the truth has put its shoes on.
Putting his faith in the lawyers that he's paying all this shit money to. So the reality is that lawyers just suck in these instances. Now, they're good for people that like to cleanse the industry of people like CoffeeZilla.
See, cleanse the industry of people like CoffeeZilla. First of all, what industry are you referring to? MLM? Well, that's not the industry that CoffeeZilla got sued over. He was sued personally by Logan Paul for defaming Logan Paul because of the videos he made about CryptoZoo, which was crypto related, not MLM related at all. So again, you're just talking nonsense. You're just literally talking nonsense.
Because he won't be around the same, he will never be the same guy. He will never be able to make psychologically the same types of videos that he did before because this hurts. When you got to start writing those checks for thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, this stuff hurts. But just to
Peter, you've never written a check for thousands of dollars in your life.
And to share with you, Scott, he basically hired the lawyers that sued, and they would say won against Alex Jones, his defamation cases in the Sandy Hook thing. And unfortunately for CoffeeZilla, he might be able to say, oh, look at who I hired. I want to be CoffeeZilla's accountant and say, let's see how this racks up.
I love their little fan fictions they have about about CoffeeZilla and me. They're preaching YouTube to be this huge, crazy, get-rich-quick scheme. So why don't they just become YouTubers instead? At least there's a chance they'll actually make money in it. Yep.
In the tens and maybe hundreds of thousands
By the time truth leaves the house, the lies already started a family. Yep.
dollars. And who knows if he'll even win, because I bet you Logan Paul is going to be able to out-earn, even though he's got a ton of other lawsuits on his own, Logan Paul is going to be able to out-earn what CoffeeZilla will be draining his bank account spending.
That might be true. And you know what? Why is that something you would celebrate? That's something that's such a sad part of the legal system, that the person with more chips, the person with more money gets to win even and not be held accountable for their actions just because they have more money.
And you'll see CoffeeZilla go to maybe what's less than coffee? What we call him, like weak tea? We'll call him like weak tea illa, because he's going to go down to like a drip instead of like whatever CoffeeZilla would eventually stand for. So it's just kind of interesting to watch. Now, I think besides just being like a snarky kind of little Weasley suspender wearing, dweeb, CoffeeZilla, that is, some of the stuff they made was very good investigation points. So maybe I might not like his style all the time, but that's a shtick. Just like
so fucking backhanded. Even someone who's like affiliated with me, they can't compliment. Like, it's so backhanded, and they'll never say anything good about me.
Rodney Dangerfield. I don't think Rodney Dangerfield was the same guy on the outside as he was on the inside of the movie Back to School. So CoffeeZilla, while he was doing his little thing, was a little, dweeby, kind of like, a little runty, kind of weasel, kind of a snarky, kind of a thinks he's smarter than everybody else kind of a guy. But he did some pretty decent investigation work. But we will not see CoffeeZilla back. CoffeeZilla will be like the band The Bangles. Like, they did like a song or two and then they were done. Or Cyndi Lauper, she did a song or two and then she was done. He's your Rick Roll of of YouTubers. So having said that, Scott, I'm having too much fun ranting on these guys. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Yeah, maybe CoffeeZilla will have to increase his video times, because every sentence he has to say, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you said he hired the same, was it the lawyers that was defending Alex Jones, or going?
Imagine trying to make fun of CoffeeZilla.
Up against Alex Jones.
Oh, up against Alex Jones. So
okay.
they're the ones that basically said, listen, we are not interested in doing anything other than putting Alex Jones out of business. Like, we want to destroy Alex Jones. And they were the ones in the Sandy Hook trials that were basically...
Jared's starting a crypto coin, and goons that drop a bag at the Streamlabs will get a heads up on the rug pull. Fuck yeah.
They really, really, really did whatever they could to destroy Alex Jones financially, and which they did, by the way. Take a look at Alex Jones. Alex Jones was basically muted and destroyed financially. The lawyers took Alex Jones out, or the legal system took Alex Jones out, and he's not as much as he was before. And, that was done for whatever reasons, some of which I think were probably also political, because Alex Jones is probably one of the single biggest contributing factors towards why Donald Trump was known and recognized and probably elected. But they needed to take Alex Jones out, and they used, unfortunately, let's go back to useful, useless, and academic idiots. They used a lot of the Sandy Hook people, the tragic situation of those victims, as the pawns to be able to have the lawsuit.
Yes, the suspenders are literally his character, the internet detective.
To be able to take Alex Jones out. Those people were used. They haven't gotten any of the money. And the people that funded these lawyers did it because they wanted to get Alex Jones out, but basically they used lawfare. And now CoffeeZilla, who should be friggin' smart enough to realize that, who did you just hire? And that's who they've hired. And I don't know that maybe...
Who would you rather have him hire, Peter?
There's some other things that we don't know, so I'm not that smart. Maybe there's some other things where they're
True, you're not that smart.
trying to take Logan Paul out, or maybe they see some reason for Logan Paul to eventually settle this. Those lawyers got to make money somehow. But the reality is that these lawyers suck, and these lawyers are just money-sucking leeches. And Marco figured that out. We told him. But Marco figured that out. CoffeeZilla will figure that out. Obviously, Sam Altman over at OpenAI doesn't have to worry about that stuff because he's got so much money. But, Elon Musk knows that people dry, and Elon Musk is one of those people that is very complex as far as on every different level. So that's another whole conversation. But the reality is that in the typical anti-MLM world, we'll bring this back to MLM, these Huns or these anti-MLM moms who think they can spout their mouth off a little bit and then not get into any trouble, they get their cease and desist letters or they get shut up. And that's why there's really no long-term anti-MLMers that are big, because once they get big, they get shut down and shut up by these lawyers who many times legitimately should shut them up because they take it too far. They might have some legitimate criticism about an MLM company, but they take it too far. And it's the thing that lets them take it too far that gets themselves in trouble. So I'll leave it at that. Back to you, Scott.
Yeah, exactly. And I realized that CoffeeZilla wasn't a very bright guy. Probably 2 or 3 years ago, I was actually talking to him on the phone, explaining to him that, a lot of people are just not criticizing the right things when it comes to MLM, and how, for example, Robert Fitzpatrick, is off on this crusade type thing, but he's not talking about the right stuff. And CoffeeZilla told me, point blank, well, I think you guys are pretty much in agreement. So it was at that point I realized whatever his knowledge base is when it comes to MLM, it's pretty much zero.
Right.
And he's really not worth talking to if he thinks me and Robert Fitzpatrick.
Great video here called The history of MLM and how they bought out our government. This is the CoffeeZilla interview with Robert Fitzpatrick. And there's also one, Big Pyramid has bought our politicians. Another good one that you guys should watch. Scott and Peter obviously talking shit about the number one MLM expert in the world, Robert Fitzpatrick, and the biggest scam exposer in the world, CoffeeZilla.
For saying essentially the same thing, then he doesn't have a clue. And so it was, it was at that point, I said, it was a pretty short.
I actually do think this phone call did happen, Sev.
Conversation after that. I said, okay, have a good day. Have a good day, CoffeeZilla, or Steven is his name. I said, have a good day, Steven. That was pretty much it. Because
do it, but don't do it too far. What? Yeah, exactly.
He made up his mind, but there wasn't much in his mind.
Imagine praising lawyers and talking about lawfare in the same sentence. It's amazing. These guys, they both side every issue. MLM is bad, but not all the MLMs. Lawyers are bad. Lawfare is bad, but not all the lawyers. When it's cleansing, it's like it's such a sign of a spineless person, a spineless, weak man, when you don't have an opinion on something, or rather when your opinion is so easy to flip-flop, when you don't stand on business, or when you're just such a pussy about it, rather than saying, I don't know, or I don't have an opinion, you put out this like pseudo opinion, which is like a half opinion. So whack.
It's also interesting.
Yeah, that way they won't ever be wrong. Exactly.
Marco did a video a couple of days ago where he talked about us. That was the whole point of the show, was to talk about us and how he, said things like, well, these guys were predicting a couple of years ago that I'd be working for McDonald's by now.
This episode we're reacting to must be a couple months old then.
And that's not happening. But we weren't thinking that he would we didn't think he would move to another country where the cost of living is much lower, which is pretty much the same thing as working in McDonald's, except he went.
See, exactly. Another great example immediately followed up. First of all, we'll click this checkbox here where Scott shares intimate details of Marco's life, and also Scott reaches into the annals of Marco's past because he's referring to an old ass comment that him and Peter made where they said something a few years ago, like in 3 years, Marco will be working at McDonald's. And now, again, you're seeing an example of them both siding the issue where they're not wrong. They were basically right, because I'm not working at McDonald's, but me moving to another part of the world where, as far as they're speculating, it's cheaper where I am living now than back in Canada. Again, they don't know where I'm living, so they actually don't know if that's the case. So that's basically the same as working at McDonald's. These guys will never be wrong. They'll never say they're wrong.
Halfway around the world, he knows nobody over there, and somehow that's a lot better than working at McDonald's, I guess. So, but that's how stupid he is. And he also mentioned when you talk about bleeding somebody dry, well, he's pretty much already dry, Marco is. And he mentioned one of his lawyers told him, you need to send me $500 immediately, which tells me this lawyer hasn't been getting paid. Because, if a lawyer is getting paid, they're just going to send you a bill and you pay it. And Marco made a point of this lawyer saying, you need to send the money to me immediately. So that's how always stupid the guy is. I mean, and he also talked about how he's actually planning.
They both sided and get both parts wrong. Yeah, hilarious. Fuck. Thank you so much, Rainy Fairy. I appreciate that. Oh, so you don't have to work at McDonald's. Oh, no. My J.O.B. My J.O.B. That would be horrible. That would be a fate worse than death, Rainy Fairy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
On going into bankruptcy. So I don't know if it's against the law to plan to go to bankruptcy, way before you get there. But it seems like it should be illegal. Or at least he would not get as good of terms if he ever did file for bankruptcy based on the fact that he had it planned all along. This is not something where he made, bad financial decisions, or maybe he got sued, even though he has been sued by multiple companies. But it's not that. It's the fact that he has advertised, I am planning on going bankrupt, and that way I won't have to pay all these lawyer bills. I'm sure the lawyers would be interested in that too, knowing that they're spending time on him with no expectation of being paid, for their hours. And it's all about billable hours for lawyers. But you have to pay the bill too, right? It's only half of the transaction to submit a bill, but then the other person has to pay it. So yeah, I mean, the guy is just so stupid and always stupid, and he makes it sound like he's really smart and we're the dumb ones, and then we come up with all these things, that just illustrate how really stupid the guy is, and yet he's so stupid he doesn't realize it. So it's just incredible, Peter. I'm amazed every time he opens his mouth, and the reason we quote unquote pick on him is because he was nasty towards both of us, particularly you. And
nasty, aka I agree. I didn't want to go on their whack little radio show.
And, just doing really mean stuff. And he pretty much parrots, whether it's Robert Fitzpatrick, the other MLM Huns, whatever. We don't have to pick on all of them because we can just hold up Marco and pick on him because they're all pretty much saying the same thing. And so it's just easier not to have to track all the other MLM Huns, which, by the way, it seems like there's been fewer and fewer of them over the past several months, year or so, and they're getting much less views. The views are in the toilet. It used to be the
views are in the toilet. I mean, they literally said shortly before I released my biggest video ever last year, which got me over 20,000 subscribers and almost 1 million views in the span of a week. My biggest video ever that I put out last year. Shortly before I put that video out, they were saying his channel is dying, his views are going down, he's going to be homeless pretty soon. Then I had my biggest video ever, and they said all those people who subscribed to him are stupid, everything he said was wrong. These guys will just keep moving the goalpost and changing it. They're so fucking pathetic. Meanwhile, 4 years later, they're still doing this same show, which is literally only them two. It's an echo chamber. It's them talking to each other. Matter of fact, let me take you to Blog Talk Radio, the Building Fortunes radio channel. These are all of the shows. No, this isn't it. I'll go to it on iHeart so you can see it in an organized fashion. Okay, here we go. This is where you can see like an organized flow of all of their shows, okay? Now, the Scott Johnson Show is not the only show that Peter hosts on this radio network. Peter himself is the co-host of countless shows on this network. Let's just look at the uploads, okay? Tell me if you can see this. I know you can. I'm going to zoom in. October 28th, that's today. Peter Mingles and Joe DeBear and 21 Day Plan on Building Fortunes Radio. October 28th, also today. This is Halloween, 30 minutes. October 26th, 2 days ago. October 26th, 2 days ago. October 25th, 3 days ago. It's quite literally almost every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Endless. Like, Peter is literally endlessly recording. Endlessly recording. Here's Lavender. Lavender returned Scott Johnson and Peter Mingles to read shredded MLM letters. This is how I found out that Rainy Fairy was on there. Do you think anyone fucking listens to this, whether it's on this site or on their Building Fortunes radio website? I mean, the sheer sludge, the sheer content sludge that they put out, it's fucking endless. And look at this site. You can't even navigate this site easily. Here, let's this is the buildingfortunesradio.com. Here we go. Here's Peter. There he is. Let's go to the Scott Johnson Show. Let's find it. All of these have very unique branding, so it's very easy to spot which one is which, Oh, look, here's a show called Team Beachbody, Independent Team Beachbody Coach. Somebody who's a Beachbody distributor has their own show. And what's this? Peter is hosting it on his Building Fortunes radio network, and Beachbody isn't even an MLM anymore. So let's see how long that goes for. Let's see. Oh, here's Scott Johnson's radio show. You can tell because of the very unique, eye-catching branding. Here's the most recent episode. Scott Johnson has YouTuber Lavender read the shredded goodbye Amway letters with Peter Mingles. Scott Johnson and ex-IBO Sally. See, this is we're just seeing the Scott Johnson Peter Mingles episodes, and you can see how long this goes for. It's literally almost a decade worth of shows every week. But this is not the only, it's such a fucking slop. It's slop. That's why they end up saying the same thing all the time. I can't imagine how Peter's brain even still functions when he's just he's got all these shows going simultaneously where presumably it's the same thing every fucking day. Late stage Hunbots with infinite hours of recordings every day. It's crazy. They have 22 Instagram followers. I doubt that many people watch their show. Yeah, I know. Scott has been blocked by more people than have ever followed him. Think about that.
Previous generation, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, they were getting.
I'll subscribe to Ming on YouTube for the meme of it too. Fuck yeah.
1, 2, 300,000 views per video.
I'm happy to do a phone call with. I'll call Peter. Matter of fact, hold on. I'll show you who I'm going to call in a minute. Stay tuned. If you're here right now, stay on for the next 10 minutes while I finish this because not even 10 minutes. But watch what I do.
I mean, it was big, but now. If there's someone that gets a few thousand, it's a big deal. And it's probably the same people, right? It's the same trolls that are reading it, making stupid comments. So they're not really doing anything very productive. And I'll stop there, too, because I could go on and on. about that whole thing. I'll let you make some more comments.
Nope. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We'll see, because we kind of predicted it, Scott. When he started doing his YouTube videos all over again, we kind of said, this guy's going to plan his own demise, and he's going to get sued into oblivion. I quite honestly predicted that he was going to get sued into oblivion, but I did not predict that he was going to actually flee the continent, go over to probably, which is where you could live on almost next to nothing relative to what you can live on in Canada, whatever. So further predictions on Marco Buckerbear, the guy who was sued by. And the reason why I'm saying that, Scott, is now he's got to edit his video a couple more times to take out either his name or the company that's suing him. Again, I should say, like Aaron B says, in my opinion. But the reality is that Marco is now in a place. You think about it, Scott. The guy's actually moved. Now, that might work to his advantage because, more than less likely, he might be able to find a girlfriend. I mean, he couldn't find it in North America. Maybe he might find it in Asia. So, they don't speak the language. Maybe they don't understand how stupid he is when he speaks. I mean, who knows? He's about their size. He's kind of small, kind of runty looking. So he might fit just right in, and maybe they might be amused by something that he does or says. But the reality is either maybe he'll find a girlfriend. He might actually, impregnate one of them and eventually have the kids that he'll never have otherwise. So the reality is that, or a sex worker, because those are probably less expensive over there too, Marco. So the reality is that he's probably either going to find his soulmate or his mate, and or like get killed in a horrible accident.
I love the lore. I love how he just keeps jumping, like swinging from the vines of one idea to another. Like, oh, he's on the other side of the world. Maybe he'll actually get a girlfriend. Maybe he'll get some girl pregnant. Maybe he'll be a sex worker. Maybe he'll die in a horrible accident. What the fuck?
Some other dude's going to sit in there and just mug him or beat the shit out of him because he's stupid. So who knows what's going to happen? But his ultimate demise may wound up being as a result of. Can you imagine that, Scott? Could you imagine your ultimate demise because you decided that you needed to scam a couple of more trolls on YouTube with your anti-MLM videos, and that leads to your ultimate demise? That is so sad. That is so sad. Couldn't happen to a better person. Could not happen to a better person. But it is also so tragically sad in a comic.
Also, what makes them think I wasn't able to get a girlfriend? What makes them think that? Like, where does that even come from?
Away.
Yeah, that would be poetic justice. That's what I would call that.
That would be.
So many hours of recordings and they still refuse to buy a microphone. Stingy. Yep.
And you just reminded me as we were talking about the cost of living in
the thumbnail is Brokeback Mountain. I literally put that picture.
Canada. He's made a big deal about
this is their audio that I ripped and edited some things out. I had to censor some things for legal reasons, and I uploaded it unlisted to my channel so we can react to it. And I put this as the thumbnail.
How expensive the internet is.
Does this count as talks about Marco's apartment? Sure, I'll allow it. The hell unhinged rant is this? Yep. Who the fuck says impregnate unironically? These old men are talking about a stranger on the internet like he's their bad ex-boyfriend. I know. I'm trying to tell y'all.
In Canada, and he's claimed it's the most expensive country in the world. I don't know if that's true or not, and how much cheaper it is apparently.
These two are my biggest fans, Grand Oculus.
Wherever he is now overseas. Well, there's a really easy reason for that.
Bingo! Sev has bingo! Let's go, baby! Let's go! Bingo! Let's work! Let's work! Bingo! Y'all not ready for bingo? All right. Hold on. Let me finish this, and then I'll show you what I'm about to do.
If you think about Canada, it's a whole lot of land and not too many people, and so it takes a ton of infrastructure to put a system in, to support the internet in that environment. Whereas places like in those other areas over there, you got people just stacked on top of each other, and so the amount of infrastructure.
Hey, Peter. This is the time for me to do this since they're going on this unhinged rant about how I'm going to get a sex worker pregnant and I'm going to go homeless and in a third world country and I'm going to die in some horrible accident or someone's going to kill me. Give me 1 second to pull this up. Peter Mingles, your wife is in my DM. No, don't click away. Stay. Peter, your wife, Arlene Mingles, is in my DM on Instagram. Let me find it for you. I'm about to call Arlene Mingles right now. Don't worry. Don't worry, Peter. Don't worry, Peter. I've been sitting on this information for several months. I'll tell you why. I've been sitting on this information because I may have told you guys in a previous installment of the BFR Marco saga that Peter has been losing his mind because someone in Peter's inner circle, we're talking about someone in his family reached out to me saying that they saw my videos about Peter and Scott because they were searching up Peter, trying to figure out what does he do for work because they've known him for so many years and they still have no idea what he does for work. And so they started watching my videos and realized that he's an equally as horrible person online as he is offline. So I started chatting with this person and they started telling me how awful and manipulative and abusive and helpless and weak and miserable and pitiful Peter is in real life, how he has glaucoma, how he can barely see, he's practically legally blind, how he hides in his office all day, and his wife hides from him, and their house is full of turmoil and arguing, and it's just a horrible environment. So ever since I revealed that on my stream, Peter was tiptoeing around talking about me for a while, but it seems he's become more brazen. Now, a short while later, what am I even saying? More than a year later, I let this marinate. I never revealed who the mole inside the Mingles operation was. Why? Because I thought, well, if Peter's over there being paranoid and it's tearing his family apart, well, how beautiful is that? So I never said anything. Then, several months ago, Peter's wife reached out to me, and I'll tell you what she said. Don't click off of this. I'll tell you what Arlene Mingles said. Don't worry about it. I got you guys. I do this internet beef shit. It runs through my blood. I'm the best at it. I love it. I love it because I never lose. That's the beautiful thing about this niche of content, anti-MLM, is that I'm never wrong. I never have any worry about going into a debate, even with zero preparation, because I know that everything that is true in MLM is a lie. Everything that they stand on can be debunked. Everything that they believe is a lie. Everything about it is fraudulent. Everything about it is a scam. There's not anything that they can say to convince me otherwise, because I know the truth. So I'm never going to lose, and I love it. So when these people try to come at me with their little theories and, you know, fan fictions, and Marco's going to be here and he's going to be working at McDonald's and his channel is dying and he's going to get a sex worker pregnant and he can't get a girlfriend and someone's going to kill him and he's going to die in an accident, I just sit back and I'm like, Meanwhile, behind the scenes, immediate members of Peter's family are telling me what a fucking piece of shit he is, and I'm saying, without saying too much on my stream, that I know these things, and Peter has been losing his fucking mind within his own home, trying to figure out who the rat in his operation is. Well, let me tell you, Peter, it's not just one rat. This whole time you've been looking for the rat in your operation. It's not just one person. What if I told you that? What if it's multiple members of your family? What if I told you that? Uh-oh. Now, the reason I didn't say anything, even though this would have been such great content, is because I thought, if I do that, then it's over. If I do that, then Peter knows who the person is, and he can just, you know, deal with them. But if he doesn't know, then he's in a constant state of paranoia. And just to prove to you that this is what's been happening, let's go ahead and look at the DMs that Arlene Mingles sent to me. Arlene Brucal, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Arlene Mingles. My name is Arlene Mingles. And by the way, I sent these DMs, these screenshots, to the other person that was reporting to me about Peter and confirmed that it's real. I'm Peter Mingles' wife. I really don't know who you are, but I'm being accused of reaching out to you and talking trash about my husband. I would never do that. If you have a video of a person that called you, I would appreciate it if you have a recording or know who it is, because it has to be somebody in my house. It's not fair. I'm being accused. I didn't even know who you were. I don't take part in arguments online. You can reach me at, and she puts her number. We're going to call that in a second. If you have any information as to who called you and said all those horrible things about my husband, I've been with him since I was 15 years old, and I'm not that kind of person, but we do have people in the house that are. I would appreciate it if you have a recording or know who it is, because it has to be somebody in my house. It's not fair. I'm being accused. I don't even know who you were. Oh, sorry, I reread a part of it again. I've been with him since I was 15 years old, and I'm not that kind of person, but we do have people in the house that are, and I would appreciate your help. If I can't find the person that did this, I will be asking for divorce because I'm being accused of doing this, which I did not do. I have a good idea of who did, but they're denying it and trying to throw me under the bus. This was months ago I received this message, and I thought, months ago, for time now, this has been festering, where Peter Mingles' wife is now considering divorce. By the time she's messaging me, she's already considering divorce. So all I have to do is nothing. All I have to do is just leave it for more time and let it play out. She wants me to absolve her of suspicion. But why would I do that? But why would I? But why would I? So let's go ahead and give Arlene Mingles a call. Hold on, let me put the number in here. I have an app that I can use, which is like a phone. It's an emulator. emulates a phone number. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's call Arlene Mingles 503. Here we go. Calling Arlene. Hopefully she's still awake. It's quite late where they are. Let's call Arlene. Gonna ask her how it's going. She could be sleeping, but let's see. Could be the house phone. Let's see. I'm the fucking best. He wishes he could quit you.
Please leave your message for...
Let me call the house. Let me call the house phone. I'm gonna call the house phone. Yeah, I have the house phone too. What can I say? Rainy Fairy, that's why I'm the go, Rainy Fairy. They might be sleeping. I'll keep calling.
Hello, this is Peter, and thank you for calling. Chances are, if you're receiving this message, I'm here on the other line. If you called, you probably want to leave me a message. Leave me a quick and a detailed message. Repeat your phone number 3 times, and I'll call you back. So again, please repeat your phone number 8 times. Leave a quick and a detailed message. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, Ming. It's always stupid, Marco. I never told you this, but a few months ago, Arlene DM'd me on Instagram telling me she was considering divorce. I just want you to know that, yeah, she's been in my DM. I never responded to her, though, because, you know, I respect your whole thing and you're my boy. But how is that going? Let me know, and we can chat. Okay, love you. Bye. I'll call Arlene again. Oh, I have to watch. I'm watching an ad now. Sorry, guys. I'm watching an ad because the app I use is... What can I do? What can I do? This is just... There's a saying. Let me find out who said this saying. There's a saying. I think it's the 48 Laws of Power. When you destroy completely. Perhaps it's Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Crush your enemy totally. Let me find it. Basically, ensure there is no chance of reprisal. Ensure that when you destroy your enemy, you destroy his whole family so that his son doesn't grow up and 20 years later try to come and get you and, you know, Godfather Part 2 type shit. And so that's what we've been, you know, that's what we've been working on without even having to do anything, just by enjoying life and letting karma take its course. I'm calling Arlene again. This was the nuclear threat we had to be worried about, yep. Bodied, Peter. I've been sitting on this for so long. You don't know how good it feels. I wasn't even planning to do this today.
Please leave your message for...
I'm going to call again. No, I'm going to call Peter again. I'm going to just keep alternating between the house phone. Because it's a house phone. It's not like a cell that they can just shut off. They have to, like, literally go unplug it from the wall. Let's call him.
Hello, this is Peter, and thank you for calling.
Let's call again. Let's call again. No rest for the wicked, as they say. Am I right? Let's call again. I don't know if you can hear it ringing. Sometimes the filter...
Hello, this is Peter, and thank you for calling.
Peter, pick up. No. Bored black sheep. Okay, yeah. They've since she was 15 years old. They're like 63 now. 63, 64. Here, let me go ahead and call again. I'm going to call again. Calling Arlene this time. I'm just alternating. He's going to lose his shit, yep. The time zone is different. I think it is 3 a.m. What time is it in Florida right now? Florida man cometh out of Ming after this. For real, yeah. Peter, don't answer. 11:30 at night. They can be awake.
Please leave your message for...
Let's call him again. When you destroy completely. Y'all didn't want to take my very polite decline to go on your show. Y'all didn't want to politely say, okay, maybe somewhere down the trough you can be a guest on our show and we shake hands virtually and that's it. No, you had to keep pressing and keep pressing and keep pressing. And even after I told you to go fuck yourself privately with no intention to ever think about it or talk about it ever again, you started in the comments, in my DMs, on your show, on and on and on. And here we are now, almost 4 years later. Your wife is in my DM telling me she's going to divorce you unless I reach down and give her the gift of absolving her name, absolving her of your suspicion. Your wife of nearly 50 years is relying on me, your worst enemy, to absolve her of suspicion in your mind. And I saw that and I thought, Peter's life is really in turmoil now, and I feel bad for his wife. But what would be the actual fucking proper thing to do here? Should Peter's wife have to suffer because of our beef? Well, according to my other source, Peter's wife has already been suffering for quite a long time because of Peter. So perhaps this is the greatest gift that I could ever give her. Not responding to her at all, letting Peter continue to show his true colors, and let them go through with their divorce. So I said nothing. I went to sleep. I periodically thought about it, but really not really. And now here we are. Who knows where we're at? That episode, yeah, it's 2:30 a.m., right? That episode was a couple months old, so who knows where we're at now? And it's been many months since she even sent me that message. Call him again. Peter Piper picked a pickle. Moochie Bear, yeah. Wake up! Wake up, Peter. It's important. I know you and Arlene don't sleep in the same room, so you can answer. It's not like she's gonna... Peter! No, chances are you're avoiding me because you're watching the stream. Peter, I know you're watching. Yes, that's exactly how the beef started. I said I didn't want to go on their show one time. And they wouldn't take no for an answer. I'm freeing her after all those years. I would think so. I remember when Marco read the original email on stream, and now we're here. Now we're here. Before, we didn't even know what Scott Johnson looked like because he was so intent on hiding his face. Let me call Scott Johnson. Let me call Scott Johnson and see if he has insight to this. Call Scott. Here we go. Scott Johnson, 214. Okay. Oh, I gotta watch it. Here we go. 214. Here we go. Calling Scott Johnson. Hopefully it's not as late in Texas. Tell your boy pick it up. From Hey Scott, go fuck yourself to Peter getting the divorce. What a saga. Hello?
Please leave your message for 21.
Ah. Peter, wake up. The Matrix has you. Ruthless. Respect. I mean, it's a shame he didn't answer, but he knows my number. I didn't even need to do anything. I literally didn't even need to do anything. All I did was continue to do my live streams, reacting to the shows they did about me. Through no effort of my own, eventually, a member or members of Peter's family, while searching up Peter, found it because my channel continued to grow, in part thanks to Scott and Peter and the saga of our beef. They found, these people in Peter's family found the videos, started watching them, realized that Peter and Scott were horrible fucking people, online as well as in person. Members of Peter's family saw the way Peter talked about them on his show. You might remember, Peter has talked about members of his family on their show in less than nice ways, about how he's had to do so much for these people in his family, and how people in his family were drug addicts and criminals and this and that, and how it was all because of Peter, who, you know, that everybody was able to survive these tumultuous times. Well, these people saw those videos and realized actually none of that is true. None of that is true, and actually Peter is the one who's the bad guy in all of these situations. So of course I never publicized it. Never said who it was. Although I did say certain things that I know that I would only know if someone on the inside had told me. Like, for example, Peter having glaucoma, not leaving the office. Little tidbits that would reveal that I knew what was going on inside his house, but not enough that he would know who leaked it to me. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Arlene mingles in my DM, contemplating divorce because Peter is suspicious of everyone. What do? Say nothing. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Here we are today. There might be a lawsuit during my career. There might be a harassment campaign that forces me to flee the country. There might be moments where my Instagram is hacked and taken down 15 different times in the span of a month. These things may happen, but I never forget. And eventually, as time goes on, regardless of if I'm up right now or I'm down right now, eventually I will come back and wipe the earth of my enemies. This is, my uncle said this to me maybe a year ago. He said, you know, if there's one word I could use to describe you, it's relentless. Relentless. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why. I don't know why I would rather, you know, it's just who I am. I would rather burn it all down than take the L. I would rather self-immolate and burn the forest down with me and my enemy in it than let my enemy walk out of the forest unscathed. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, I think my uncle was right. Relentless. Ruthless. I'm not going to do anything that you guys are saying. I'm not going to spam his DM. I'm not going to swap Peter's house. I believe that karma will do its thing. And everyone who has ever wronged me in my life has ended up suffering a terrible fate through no effort of my own, just pure karma. I guess I must be doing something right. Must be doing something right. Rainy Fairy, you must be new here, Rainy Fairy. I've been sued several times. My tiny black heart loves this beef, as my father was also an awful being. Love it. Destroy your enemies. Hey, crazy, I'm Benjamin. All right, y'all. Well, this has been the longest fucking stream in a while, but it's good. We gotta, you know, make up for some lost time. It's been a while since I did a long stream like this, so Peter is not with a specific MLM. He sells tools for people in MLMs, like leads and shit. Anyways, I gotta go. It's afternoon time now. It's late night for y'all. Streamlabs link in the chat. Blah, blah, blah. I gotta go on a date with some beautiful Russian model girl now. Oh, he's never gonna find... Anyways, peace.